tries to retreat.
Yike, because I think this Busio Yike combo is that kind of one dimension that you look at in the early game for KC. But at least KC did a good job of trying to adapt by playing into this bottom side, having an option to open up Busio to then work with Yike. But unfortunately, the damage was already done. Like, they'd already taken over too much control in the early stages. And I think for G2 specifically, they are a much better team than what we saw in Every. And the competition that KC had in Every, they are not going to have moments to get back into the game like, in the same way that they did against the likes of Shifters and Fnatic. And I think that's where the big problem is for KC. They're not growing their leads in the early game properly to face off against top teams.
My take is like, because it's only been one game, so I'm not going to jump to that. For me, I very much felt like that this was just a really bad game from Yike. I think that Yike super underperformed compared to my expectations of him as a player. Coming into this weekend, I was going to argue that he is the best performing jungler of the regular season. And when I have that expectation of you, to play the way that he did was very under the level that I normally expect from Yike. So I'm still going to hold judgment. I think that KC is a stronger team than what they've showcased in this game one. And I'm hoping very much so that they bounce back. But for me, in order for them to do that, it's Yike that I'm looking at. He has to have a stronger performance in this series if KC is going to stand a chance against G2.
I'm looking at Yike and I'm looking at Canon, not on tanks, because this was so one-sided.
Yes,
but
true.
that's not the matchups we want to see here. Props to Broken Blade. He's been playing much better. We also saw that last week in the LEC and in the studio. But come on, man.
Yeah.
Especially the use of red side. I want to use something
agree.
else.
I do think that they tunneled a little too much on this Azir. It seemed that mid matchup seemed to be what KC was the most afraid of, to be completely honest with you. Yahoo is 11-1 in the LEC on Azir.
Yeah.
His only loss is to G2 in the LEC versus.
Now
right?
he's twice on it.
And now he's lost to them twice. So it seems to me that their goal was to try and set Yahoo up for success in the mid lane matchup.
Oh, Canon died.
And they weren't able to do that. So I think they need to move away. I think they need to try and get a stronger top side. I need to see Yike step up. Because I feel like the bot lane was very much of a nothing burger. And also Karma. 7-game loss streak now in the LEC.
8 now.
8 games.
Yeah, absolutely insane. This Karma has not gone well at all. Apparently, it's the new Lucian.
Just drop
you know,
it.
you pass, you pass it on. It's like they played in lane against each other, and the curse passed from one to the other.
No, from the ADC to the support, actually. Well, the good news is we're not going to see that champion again. But for now, G2 opens up the score convincingly against KC. Let's see what happens in game 2.
I'm front of us. I'm on Gina, I hit two. Chase. I hit in two. I hit. One come on the flash. Okay, go ahead.
Finds away from it. Calist on the backline. Just deleted. He lost that joust in a heartbeat, and it's a knight's tale for Broken Blade. Yahoo gonna fall as well, and G2 are just ripping them to shreds.
He's not here. Just take it. It's one shot. I will ult soon.
Fine, everyone.
I have him. Okay, no, it's fine. He's already flash. Okay, just end the game. We can end.
Brother, let me try.
Wait, brother. Let us break this instead, brother.
Have a break. Have a Kit Kat.
What is this, brother?
Perfection.
A new champion. Welcome to my shop. You'll need the right build. Choose wisely, because every upgrade brings you closer to the next level. So tell me, how will you level up?
The whole room was howling.
Howling? Oh, that's not howling, buddy. That's...
Did you steal the LEC trophy?
Okay, you can close.
I lied awake for days, counting all the ways I died. Everything I couldn't save, buried down, still half alive. It's got me crawling in my skin, but no one's coming out to hold me close. Pouring out the gasoline, yeah, I've been making friends with all these ghosts, and I got nothing left to lose. Fire to the fuse, yeah. Choked it down, left a bad taste on my tongue, but my appetite's been growing now. I can see you crawling in your skin, but no one's coming out to hold you close. I'm pouring out the gasoline, so say hello to all my ghosts. I'm sick and exhausted, but I'm back with a match, yeah, I'm a boss kid. Nothing to lose. I'm sinking my teeth in, and I won't let you go when I'm having fun till set fire to the fuse. I'm moving like a shadow. You're walking in my dead zone. Breathing slow. Ooh, love the hunt, love the high. Watching life fade from your eyes.
Amazing to see Game Changers Rising coming back. Always one of my favorite parts of the year, getting to watch that tournament. It's just, it's so much fun to watch.
Yeah, I mean, generally, there's a lot of cool storylines as well. Like, Countess rolls up into mid.
True.
We're going to see how that turns out.
See how a Korean boot camp went as well. Yeah. Right? There's a lot of cool stuff going on there, so make sure you do catch it if you can, as we are here at the road trip for the LEC in Madrid, where G2, playing in an arena, seem to think it's playoffs again as they absolutely decimate KC in game one.
I mean, that was one-sided.
Yeah.
I thought that this series would be competitive, but what I saw in game one, that was not very competitive. So I want to see now KC go back to what has been working for them, because when I saw the draft in game one, I thought, not very KC-like. I did not really like this Sion pick for Kana. I think they had a little bit of mind games going on, that maybe if Broken Blade would answer the Sion with a K'Sante, then that would mean that both champions are out in Fearless, and that would kind of mean top lane wide open for Kana to blind pick whatever he wants. But didn't really work out in game one. But Sion is now taken out, so KC has chosen first pick. as G2 has chosen blue side.
Yeah, both teams, of course, locked in our top 6 into playoffs, but double elimination still on the line for both of them. Actually, it would be very unlikely that KC from 6-0 go down to 6-3 and then don't make it into our top 4. Sorry, there's a lot of different permutations that would have to happen for that to happen. But you have to remember, going against the other teams that are sitting in those top 4 spots and not doing too well is never a motivating factor.
I mean, it's also about confidence, right?
Yeah, exactly.
I think KC has kind of had a hype train going all season right now with a 6-0 start, and I think maybe the hype train has stopped at the first station right now. That is this G2 best of 3, because it seems like they finally met their match. As we are into draft fully, we do see the same bans as KC did game 1 with the Nautilus and Jarvan, still kind of trying to set up themselves to play these Enchanter range supports. Don't really want to deal with Nautilus, don't really want to deal with a Jarvan, so...
You just can't ban Seraphine now. If you want an Enchanter, that's who you've got left, dude. You've got Seraphine, Melio, those are your 2 options. Nico falls in this weird, like, she's an engaged support, but she's ranged,
Yunara,
you know.
Lulu, there's been
Lulu,
some
I guess, as well,
in our league. I think if you want to play Enchanters, you can. You can always force them if you dig that deep in your pool. It will be the Nivea ban, kind of setting themselves up for an early rise, I would assume, unless Labrov has been drinking the Kool-Aid in solo queue and been spamming that stuff support, which is entirely possible.
It's possible, but unlikely. I'm going to put that one into the ether over there.
Okay.
Varus is the final ban from G2. They don't want Kana getting his hands on anything too easy. Ash is going to be the pick. G2 obviously would have read that this would be either Ash Seraphine, so likely to see them either pick up Yunara Lulu or look for one of those 2.
Also, Caitlyn Bard has been quite good into the Ash Seraphine.
Okay.
I think Vitality plays a lot of Caitlyn Bard into Ash Seraphine. I think also Ansam has had 1 or 2 Caitlyn games this split, so does seem in his wheelhouse. I know he likes to play the lane, dominant AD carries, and Labrov on Bard has been a growing playmaker for G2. I think his Bard has really grown into a good player, playmaking player.
He's a playmaking player.
He's a show-making, playmaking maker, but it will be the Bard lock in here for Labrov. So I do like this early 1-2 from G2. Once again, not conceding any bot lane prio. They know that the enemy team wants to draft strong bot lanes, and they are matching them in that regard.
And they did that entirely in game 1 as well. We didn't see any lead really come out of Kalis Busio, even after they got that tower dive. Like, they got 2 kills on the Jhin, and then they weren't really able to extend that lead past 400-500 gold. Hansama eked it back, obviously helped by the fact that the rest of his team was doing so well. But there is the rise from the Anivia ban we were talking about earlier. Ash Seraphine, this is much more KC when you look at it so far.
It's very KC and also very telegraphed. You ban the Jarvan and the Nautilus for the Ash Seraphine, and you ban the Anivia for the rise. So G2 knew this was coming, and I want to assume that they have something planned into this rise pick, because usually you don't see it getting handed over for free, and looks like it might be an Annie lock-in for Caps, which has a lot of CC, but it's not really good into the rise 1v1, but what she does have is great setup for a skirmish-heavy jungler to come and take a little visit to the mid lane and maybe pick up a free kill or 2 on the rise.
So we're looking at things like Vi, Xinqiao.
I evo nas ljudi moji, game broj 2, draft je već krenuo. G2 je uzeo prvi game. Nećemo da li će moći da nastave, naravno ovdje najviše publike je u štabu Španije, uzet ću obzir gledamo meč u Madridu, ali svako G2 case je vjerovatno najviše hajpovan meč. Tako da je i to uvek fan da se vidi.
Incredible potential later on in the game. Caitlyn there to put traps down alongside it. You could also look for some damage towards that top lane. Yasuo ban here from KC really implies they're looking towards the Gnar.
Really does signal the Gnar heavily. So this is the question now, G2. Do you have other answers into the Gnar, or are you just gonna take it out of the rotation?
Odlučili su Salty da krenu sat vremena ranije, bez da ikom kažu. Nisam ni siguran zašto je to tako, ali da. Sad sam proverio i pomerili su raspored, tako da će u nedelju krenuti u 3 sata. Znači brzo se završi stream, što također nije nužno loše, mada iskreno nisam siguran da će se brzo završiti, uzet ću obzir da ne vjerujem da će G2 dobiti drugi game, ali vidjet ćemo, mislim nikad se ne zna.
problem with the Malphite here is if you ult and you don't catch the Seraphine, she ults on top of you and it goes through your entire team, right?
Absolutely,
so a little bit of a threat. Vayne, the final ban from KC. Nocturne taken away by G2.
You could take the Gnar here if you want yourself.
You go jungle, no?
Yeah, I mean, but like if you think that fact that the Yasuo, Vayne, Varus are all out, Jace out as well, you could in theory take the Gnar here on 4 if you're willing to take like the Renegade match. I mean, I don't know what kind of will play into the Gnar, probably. Actually, I don't know, but will actually be the Gnar lock in here from BB. So I think that's a clever move. You saw the Vayne ban, you saw the Yasuo ban, Jace is out, Sign is out, Rumble is out, so you just take the Gnar yourself here. Rooster had a great showing on the Akali into Gnar. I think Kana would also be the person to pull it off. Irelia here.
Irelia for Kana.
I mean, I would like it.
Yeah.
I think Akali is more his type. I think we had this conversation every single time a top laner is born and there's coin flips. Either you're playing range champions.
AP assassin or AD
tako.
Yeah, exactly.
Kaže, Tok je stomp bio da nije bilo što da se vidi spec. Da? Čekaj, ako su oni stompovali, jer to znači da postoji šansa da G2 dobije Game Boy 2. Iskreno? Čudno je to kako radi, nemam pojma, mislim. G2 se već kvalifikovao u playoff u svakom slučaju, samo... I znamo, naravno, G2 playoff formu, ono, asenduju, kapirate. Dođe do playoffa, G2 asenda.
Of KC, I think they got caught a little bit off guard by this Gnar on 4 because they now have Ryze, Aurora, Seraphine and Ashe. Now I think we're gonna see a lot of Merc threats on the side of G2 here, itemizing against all that CC. So it's gonna be about can G2 and BB harness this early weakness of the Gnar and kind of get him to a safe spot, because when Gnar gets Trinity Force and Mercs, he's in a really good spot against Aurora as the Olaf lock-in comes in for Scuman. And we were talking about skirmish.
Scuman do Olaf također, to smo vidjeli. Da još ja gledam, pratim što se događa, rekao, brate mili, kad prije 1-0, šta se događalo? Kad oni samo odlučili da iskripaluju raspored bez razloga.
CC, all you need to do is land an undertow afterwards, and then the Ryze is either flashing away in mid lane or he's dead.
I mean, he will die, If Olaf runs at him, and depends how fast you can proc your Storm Raider search right now. Before it was a bit easier with the Phase Rush, you could just do 3 spells, run away with that slow resistance.
Is it Storm Raiders only now?
I assume he's gonna go Storm Raiders and Ryze. I think there's no other real keystone for him to take, unless you want to go for like a spell book, I guess, with Ghost. But yeah, you're gonna see Storm Raiders and Ryze most likely. And I mean, if he can't get that initial burst onto Olaf to get that little burst of movement speed, it might suffer, but I think he will have enough damage. It won't really be an issue for him. It's gonna be a bigger issue for the Ashe Seraphine, because Olaf just runs straight through them, straight into the back line. And if there's an Annie on the flank, or a Gnar on the flank, it's a very hard situation to live through if you're an Ashe.
Dosta navijača G2-a također u Španiji, mada realno gledano, mislim, G2 iako je organizacija koja je trenutno centrirana u Berlinu, i dalje je G2, mislim, kao poreklo G2-a iz Španije. Ocelot je napravio G2, Ocelot je španski streamer, content creator, kako hoćete. Tako da i dalje mislim da nekako ono G2 je dijelom španska organizacija.
If I tempered Fate first, the Bardo, is that going to get matched by an Encore as soon as they come out of it? There's this ebb and flow that really... Sometimes I think that the team that goes first here, if they don't burst someone down, might actually just be losing, as we see the Ghost coming out.
Sad može da juri, juri. I dalje može da juri,
Labrov down to a third HP and... He's going to have to pop through those potions. We'll get level 2 and the Caretaker Shrine will help him a little bit, but not the best. Also bad for Caps in mid as he left that lane for a while.
Caps wanted to move down here and actually...
Ne znam da čujete moj Windows sound, ali ako čujete nije do vas, ja sam morao da isključim miš. Svako mi sad ne treba nešto preterano.
Annie, he procs it with a shield, which is quite fun. I've never seen that before.
You do it for trading patterns.
Yeah.
You use Molten Shield in, you can walk further forward, and
if someone attacks you, they take damage. I'm gonna be honest.
Man, he took Electrocute back from it, dude. It kind of works. Is the store... Is that Deathfire Grasp?
They look the same to me.
I think it's Deathfire Grasp.
Deathfire's touch on the Ryze.
So not Grasp, yeah, Deathfire touch.
Yeah. I mean, I'm also an old head medic. I do miss DFG, but I think that's the Deathfire's touch.
I'm pretty sure it's touch.
It is, yes,
Yeah.
because the Storm Raiders looks like the old Rogue icon.
Yeah.
Rest in peace, Rogue. So Yehu is securing himself a lot of early push right now in this matchup. Will probably have a very nice time. Does not have the TP though, so Caps can always kind of bail himself out with one recall, should he need it.
Yeah, also placed a ward down towards the bottom side of his lane just to make sure there wasn't a level 3 gank from Skumond. Yike could look for a bit of an invade here on towards the red, but a ward out from Skumon will spot the fact this is happening. And the problem for Yike is, well, his bot lane can't move. Busio's already hit, so he's going to have to go across and start up the Krug.
Dobro, da, ali mislim kao generalno je G2 je organizacija registrovana u Nemačkoj, kao njihov biznis je registrovan u Nemačkoj. Na to mislim. Jer sam baš gledao nešto vezano za lige. Jer je bila priča da će Riot, to se nije dogodilo, ali bila je priča da će Riot da forsira svaku orgu iz LEC-a da moraju da imaju svoju akademiju. I onda je bila priča kao gdje će ići i kao moraju da budu tamo gdje im je baza. I onda smo mislili da će G2 morati da budu u španskoj ligi. Međutim, sam baš radio istraživanje da vidim gdje im je centar, gdje su registrovani. I registrovani su u Nemačkoj. Sad možda imaju neke off firme još u drugim zemljama, sigurno imaju, ali ali da. Registrovani su u Berlinu, sa ko zna, mislim. Verovatno poslovna odluka, sigurno postoji neki razlog.
500, 600 gold down now to start this game, so very well played by the KC bot side.
I'm sorry to break it to you like this, Finn, but your support in solo queue is not Busio, and your top laner is not Kana, and I'm
lep combo.
Unfortunately, the roams don't
Baš lep
work out
combo.
as well usually in solo queue. Busio, the great move, does burn his flash, so is it a bit of a risk if he gets caught out by Cosmic Binding, but already has that Ruby Crystal and the cloth boots for the extra movement speed here, making it much harder for Lebrov to actually get his mitts on the enemy support.
See a little bit of trading in mid. See already a healthy goal lead being attained top, but that's a bad portal.
The magical journey.
It's a journey. Nije baš puno magical journey. Pro player, da Bardo. Hvala puno.
With the reckless swing.
I swear when I see Cavs play, I don't know if he's predicting or seeing all these little health bars happen.
Cav si mrtav, nije mrtav. Jeste, lepo od Jajka.
Skumon's chasing though. Can he get in range for an undertow? I don't think so.
I think he can.
Yike doesn't have the movement speed from the Scuttle Crab. He's got his top laner moving down, misses the wind becomes lightning. Undertow goes wide.
Don't chase us now.
Doesn't really want to chase too much further. Look at the kill before. Yike heals up though, and with the Q3, Skumon healed up.
Za malo.
Won't be enough. Yike still low as his enemy jungler has fallen. Broken Blade comes across and picks up the kill and takes himself a buff out of it too. They'll chase onto Kana, magical journey. Kana backed in the right spot to just walk away.
Oh, it's a brawl in the mud this game, Medic, okay? You see, I would love to break this pace down because there's so many things happening right now. But G2 actually fight back once, and BB getting that kill will do him so many favors in the laning phase, accelerating his Mercury Threads purchase now. But Caps is 0-2, starting this game on the back foot, and Yehu has been pushing in him deep. So it starts with this. Yehu almost lost this play on the Caps, but he baits it
multiple. Sad lepo, možemo i da se gledamo.
An easy kill for Skumon, and now you thought the play would end. But Yike sees Caps.
Krenuli su Deathfire Rise da igraju. I Deathfire i Storm Raider su krenuli da igraju na Rise-u. Iako ja nisam Storm Raider enjoyer, zašto mislim da nekom skinuti 30% health-a, 25, osim ako nemaš actualizer, zna da bude dosta teško. Tako da se baš teško proka. Mislim, nije ni nemoguće, ali ono... Mnogo sporiji prok nego Fizz.
Calista about 200 ahead, Kana the same towards that top lane. You said that Mercury Treads plus Phage would be the angle for Broken Blade. Well, he's close, he's already got those Merc Treads.
Okay, Labrov. Nope.
Yehu is just going to realm warp out. Labrov once again just moving away from that bot lane. Still level 3 on the Bard with how much he's been out on the map. Now level 4.
Just hit level 4 now, but now
Gdje si, Jeldane? Han sama, kao list na vetru, sama na ovom svetu. Ništa, sekund. Ima BE-u, nima BE-u. I šta vam je potion? I šta vam je potion? Gledajte ovo. On je preživao bukvalno samo zašto je bacio pot. Da, Deathfire na Smolderu i na Seni se igra puno zašto perma stakuje Black Cleaver. Mada, fun fact, na brandu također perma stakuje Bloodletter's Curse. Tako da isto kao što radi Black Cleaver, radi i Bloodletter. Tako da brand koji je sam po sebi već bio broken s Deathfireom još više broken. To je fora.
Very much agreed, and now KC are going to get the first Drake of the game. They were unable to pick up one in game one. The hot shot spots Skewmond as well. And KC with these pushing lanes.
Ne znaš ti ima to kad ja Sinana krenem da pevam, brate. Tu se čaše lome. Kako sad KC stompa, G2 je stompa? Šta se događa, ljudi moji? Zašto Busio ima 2 kila? Da su ubili Canona, Busio bi dobio 6 i mogao je da forsira pressure. Da, znači ozbiljna priča, ozbiljna priča.
Jumping forward there was a little bit brave, baiting for Yike, you could say.
A little bit of a fast finger there by Kana. Did not intend to jump straight in.
Skewmond se također drži dosta dobro. Ljudi slabo buildaju Bloodletter early. Bloodletter ti je drugi item na brandu. Znači ideš Blackfire u Bloodletter. To ti je to. Evo ga, combo. Jeste što je Busio radio? Bacio je Q u sred portala da predikta da se ovaj blinka i da ga ubije. Lepo, jako lepo. Malo je laki što je uzeo 3 kila do duše, ali to je već druga priča. Jer mislim da Serafi nema nužno build koji je high icon, gdje treba puno golda. Eventualno možda je Tyr mogao da ode. Pa da ide na onaj Tyr item. Iako nemaju tankove, da, samo igraš Bloodletter svejedno. Nešto je broken kako se stakuje, to je poenta. Poenta je što ti uvek imaš fully nastakovan Bloodletter pre nego što ti proka pasivna. I onda baš mnogo šreda. To je fora.
Chase comes in from Skewmond. Busio here to try and help out. Ace in the whole magical journey taken away. And as you say, that's not home. He took a one-way ticket trip to hell. Got there in the end, dude. I'm tripping over the words. He's taking a trip to the fountain.
I mean, you asked what G2 could do, and when everything else fails for G2, you look to Caps to kind of pull it all together. So they're trying to set him up by attacking Yehu. Labrov has been roaming about this game, and this one finally pays its due dividends and secures a nice kill. But look at Busio's confidence. He's just stepping up with 1v2.
That's Flash and Mikhails. Like, what are you going to do against him? Like, the only thing that CCs him now is a tempered bait. Apart from that, you have no recourse. You have no way of stopping this Seraphine from doing whatever she wants on the map. Does mean that she burns the heal and the Mikhail, so you get the summoners out at least. Skewmond wasted a little bit of time around there, but he's still got his Krugs boxes up so he can go and clear those out.
But look, Kalist forced Hansama cleanse once again with Enchanted Crystal Arrow. There's now 3 more minutes where Hansama cannot step up due to the risk of that CC chain combo by KC. So not a great catch there by Kalist will secure them so much pressure in the coming 3 minutes, as now maybe he is caught off guard here. You don't want to go into the jungle there, man.
Ghost and he has Splash, but can he get away from the rampaging Olaf? The answer is a decided no.
His Human igra, opet na njegovom heroju. O! Mislim da ovo Busio nije ni mogao da flashuje što je najjače. I on je mrtavo. Ma dajbuješ ga, šta te bolo. I pusti Shadi carry da uzme kill, ali si ti već uzeo 3 killa, da. Lepo G2, a G2 se vraća full ovaj game. G2 se full vraća ovaj game. Nebitno što je Caps behind, Caps je N i on će uvek da radi svoje isto, jako lepo od Bibija. Ne može da gubi od 100 do 0, može da ga spusti na tipa 10%, nema veze. Da je full pogodio sve, mogu da ga spusti na 10% healtha. A okej, pa mislim, ne znam što radi Kana, iskreno. Kana gubi na topu, Skewmond je previše već ahead. Caps trenutno nebitno, Rise of Skill će tek biti faktor na 3-4 itema. I Han sama se vrati u game ovdje, tako da je to poprilično dobro. Noća solo queue, da. Streamovat ću večera solo queue-a. I poslije ću verovatno nekog Valoranta posle solo queue-a, to mi je plan. To mi je plan, mislim da je to optimalno.
Suddenly the punish becomes so much larger. While they were diving tier 2, Hansama was just chucking away at their bot side tower with free grubs, with Caitlyn passive, just gaining an abnormal amount of gold. So a lot of solace for the G2 bot lane.
Do you think I got baited by Cashback? Because also AD carries run it now. We can't see the secondary tree for Ashe. That is true. But he did just get the Kraken Slayer.
I probably got a lot of extra gold there. Cashback is fantastic.
It's such a good... when you're building 6 completed items, and you have Cashback, he's like, yes, please. Feed me, Boris. Yes. Take all of that gold back.
I think it's Boris's funds he gets back, I guess so.
I mean, he's the guy you're paying, right? Yeah. Like, the thing is, Boris sells you all these magical items that aren't that magical because you can buy them again in the next game. They're not as unique as they seem, I'm going to say.
Also, there's multiple of them.
Probably mass-produced somewhere in Bilgewater. and then he gives them to you, and it's like, hey...
30. Juče sam otišao, to je prekjuče, sam otišao 3 vina, 2 luza. Tako da sam bio game u plusu. Ne, ili sam otišao 2-2, ali sam krenuo na 30. Svako je 30 LP-a start. Da nisam na nuli. Ali danas sam se naspavao, tako da mislim ću igrati dosta bolje. Zadnji put kad sam igrao bio sam malo neispavan i da sam baš puno grešaka pravio. Mislim, nije izgovor, ali kao svestan sam zašto sam igrao lošije nego što bi normalno igrao, tako da to je fora.
Taken out. Kana here as well, as you say, to secure that kill. LeBron has to flash, otherwise he will not see the light of day. The chasing from Kansas, yikes, oversteps. Yahoo's still going in. Tibbers trying to get in the way of the overload. The room prison finds him, and an auto's enough. Tibbers gets angry, but Yahoo gets paid.
Lepo za Yahoo. On kažem, čeka 3 itema, na 3 itema će definitivno da bije. Do tada nisam najsigurniji šta će moći da uradi. 2-2, da. Onda sam krenuo s 30 i bio sam 2-2. To je fajn isto, to je okej.
Watch this fight just a little bit. So it starts with the arrow going quite wide. Yahoo actually steps up to try to bait Caps to walk back into the arrow. But it ends up him having to flash out. And here I was really surprised that Yike moved in.
Oh, that flashes
Caps into his tower. But with Kana moving here from behind, he just knows he has the numbers. And he knows he has the follow-up damage with his boys there behind him. And this is where he puts down the pink board. Caps calmly sidesteps, the wind becomes lightning, and just trade kills here. So volatile fighting is the name of the game, Medic. A lot of things happening so far, but still, Skewmond is really growing into a big threat. I think he's going for the ultimatum Hextech thingy.
Skewmond će full offovati u nekom trenutku, ali generalno ovaj low damage kom KC Olaf baš dobro skela. Iskreno. jako, jako dobra skela.
Cleanse away from out. Yeah, the Kalist is just sending him.
Yeah.
It's like, hey, if I get the cleanse out, that's all well and good. If we get more, perfect. As Broken Blade tries to chase down Kana, it's about to go Mega Gnar. Kana has to flash away because the threat of a Gnar was too great.
Between Worlds was down there, so he couldn't really use that to escape or buffer the big Gnar coming up from BB, so...
Okay, Finn. Currently we sit 70 minutes into the game. Gold lead, 400 gold in totality between these two teams. Obviously, Skewmond is skewing that very heavily towards the G2 side, whereas Kalist and Busio are the majority of the lead for KC as they perhaps look for a dive. They're not going to go for it. You've got 2 Drakes to 3 Grubs. If you were in this situation, what are you looking at? What are you saying, hey, we got another Dragon up in a minute's time. How are you setting up for the next couple of minutes of play?
I mean, I think for sure Hansama needs to be hovered by this Olaf Bard combo, because every single time Hansama is left alone on that mid wave, that is just a gaping hole of pressure that the G2 cannot really do anything with. So you need to make sure Olaf, after his clear, takes a stroll mid and kind of allows Hansama to push away.
6, 8, 200 goldifa, 2 Drakea, verovatno 2 najgora Drakea. Mislim, da imaš single Drake, verovatno su 2 najgora Drakea. A Sol je najbolji. Tako da ovo će baš biti interesantno. Da vidimo šta će da radimo. Sam pravim da mi je story live. Za svaki slučaj znam da nekad Instagram zna da baguje. Si kad bude otvorilo. Dobar fight, lep ult od Serafin. Mislim da je Labrov out, ali on će da umru od Deja, Šeših, Yuri, nema šanse, ne. KC ih je samo pregazio. Fajn ako ideš na protoplezan build. Protoplezan Harness, Bandle Pipes, Zekjes build. Doduše nisam siguran da je to najoptimalniji build, mislim da je na Shenu mnogo bolje ići na Titanic Hydru, Dusk and Dawn, iskreno. Ali, mislim, možeš, nije da ne možeš. To je isto okej.
Look at Kalist, dude.
You have to back now because Kalist is free hitting. You don't have Olaf ult, you don't have Bard ult, and you don't have Gnar ult, and you have no more threats to kind of reach Kalist, and he is still super strong on this Ashe. So G2 overreaching a little bit after the cooldowns wore out. And this will be the soul points for KC now coming into the next Dragon.
It will be. Caps, congratulations. 4,000 assists in the LEC. The 4th player in history to hit that milestone after Mickey, Hilly and Yankos all managed to do it before him. One player we still see in the league, one who's become a co-streamer now. He's retired. And obviously Hilly as well, the mad scientist as he was known in his heyday.
I don't think anyone is breaking Hilly's death record, so I think he has that on lock.
It's locked down for the next millennium.
But you know, like, that's what you thought about Kadim in the NBA as well, and no one break his points record, but then LeBron kind of did that, but I don't think we're going to see another Hilly coming anytime soon, as G2 is pushing a little bit of pressure here on the top side here, wants to get his tower.
Izletali šta treba. Bito Labrov preživa. Čovjek čuva KD. Ne znamo da li je upset ili Labrov.
You don't know how good
I think that would be breaking some sort of competitive integrity, Medic. I'm not sure if you want to break Hillesang's death record in a year.
I'll try my hardest, but these guys are that much better than I am.
I'm sure you would.
And Jarvis from Kalist. Mikhails was available here for Labrov, and he didn't preemptively use it. He died.
Jako je, Mikhails je jako nezgodan. Jer bukvalno moraš da baciš Mikhails u milisekundi pre nego što te pogodi Arrow i onda ga samo od sebe klenzaš, što je jako cool. Mislim da je to baš lepa skill interakcija. To je tako nije smelo da radi jer treba da ga bacaš tek kada, mislim, kao ne skida ti posle, ali ima delay pre nego što, od kad kastaš pre nego što se aktivira, tako da možeš samo od sebe da mi killaš, što mislim da je genijalno. Ali nije to Labrov uspio da uradi, tako da svako je riknuo. I baca ult i KC opet u boljoj poziciji.
At any moment they can walk into your jungle. They stole that red early doors, and then since then, like, although Skewmond has been able to find ways back in, it's mostly been through playing in a lane rather than through pushing into the enemy jungle.
absolutely. It really has been a very stark contrast to game 1 over KC. I think they have snowballed fantastically. It has been a very messy game from both sides, but it feels like KC always had a firm grip on the situation. They always knew what was going to happen, and they always planned for it accordingly. So we'll just now be Yike. Labrov is walking up here. He's quite alone, but he's barred. He'll probably be fine.
Should have the magical journey. Skewmon waiting around the corner to see if he can find anyone.
Still down though. So
Skewmon needs to get out here. Labrov unable to help him. A beat drop there. Stun for the follow-up. Skewmon lands the undertow. Hansama standing waiting in the wings. Good cosmic binding, but not really too much Labrov can do in this situation. Has to be scared of Yahoo. Baron an option for KC. But with 5 members still on the enemy.
Dobar od Kapsa ovdje, samo da ga brsta. Baron više nije toliko opcije za Casey ako je Yike low. Ima tu uvijek psihološki faktor, što je više low jungler, to je teže da smajtuje. Kao jungler koji ima 5 healtha će više fokusirati da ne umre nego da pogodi smite i onda tvoj jungler tu ima malu prednost.
Will still be a minute of solace here for G2. Everything is gonna come down to the next dragon though, because let's take a little look at the flashes here. Khalid's flash will be up, and if you look at G2, no one has really fought since that last dragon, so all flashes will be up and available for this coming dragon fight. So big eyes on
Pijem čaj neki. Moram polako ga pijem, ima brda nekih biljaka na dnu koje baš ne bi da pojedem ako ne moram. Labrov traži ugao na Kalista. On je mrtv. A bro, koliko je tužno kad igraš Ashe u Olafa. Sve što Ashe ima je slow i stun, a Olaf ne zanima ga ni jedno ni drugo. Ok, busio nije, ok, busio lep flash od Skewmonda. Bibi je živ, mislim Bibi ima kill, da. Dobar flash. Caps hoće da otvori na Jajka. G2 iskreno šutira jako. Šutira veoma jako. Desi, ali mi ne.
Skewmon will start his dragon, but I'm not sure if he can. Looks like everyone is moving out, but yeah, will just be the dragon take here from G2. And so many mechanical plays happen in that fight. And I don't know how G2 does it, but you can never count them out in these situations.
Baš lepo su odigrali, bojim. Ali ne može, Kalist nema kako da igra u Olafa, bukvalno je unplayable.
Yeah, and here Busi actually walks up into the auto attack range. And now Hansama says my ult, and then as he flashes out, Skewmon says, oh, and my axe, and just collects him at the back end here as BB puts on an absolute show here. Jumps out of the bard ult, picks up Kana, runs away, and as Yike goes in, flashes the Crescent Guard, allowing Caps to just come in and lock Yike down for an easy pickup. It's just hands gap. A fantastic individual micro by G2 pulls them back into this game.
G2 fans in the audience very happy about that one, and now the pendulum swings. It was so heavily KC for the majority of this game, but it was because of scraps.
Ali realno nije toliko KC bio, mislim bili su 1800 head, nije to ništa wow, da se ne lažemo.
2v2, 3v2 fights. It becomes much harder for KC to still control the game. They are still on soul point.
Teško je Ashe da igra u Olafa, brate. To je pouka za moje drage kolege castere. Ashe ne može igra u Olafa. Ne postoji peel, osim da Kalist ne baci ghost na vreme i da flasha sekiru. I da ne bude blizu sekire, da Olaf ne može da pokupi, to je to. To je fora.
He will try to pick up the actualizer soon, but it's still quite a bit far away. When he gets that item spike, I think he will help a lot with the damage that Skewmon is putting out, and the fact that they need to look for the diamond now that Tempered Fate comes out onto Yike.
I think it's just an ultimate exchange. G2 don't want to go any further, don't know who's behind it, but that's the Crescent Guard used just because of the threat of the Vikings.
And Hansama was in base. He was
magical journey over onto Yike. They're going to chase him down. They'll get the stun. The encore too late. Everyone's left the concert already as Kalist tries to step forward and is met by a Tibbers. Skewmon chasing Yahoo. Bruce gets the kill across the wall. Around War finds you. Only the
Underrealms there for Yahoo as he's taken out, and G2 kill off the
Bog
enemy
mi
mid,
lepo.
kill off the enemy mid, and now are looking towards that most ultimate of prizes, both in Riftbound and in League, the Baron buff.
But look, they have all these traps set up here.
Ne smije da završe, ne, plašite će da umru. Nema s Human dovoljno health ovdje. Ovo nije Baron.
It's difficult to start this Baron. I think it might just be a base angle for them and then try
Da je Bibi imao flash, možda je mogu da staka Megu opet, pa da proba sa Megom da forsira fight. Ali mislim, oni nema šta, blind face checkuju, nije baš najbolji razvoj događaja.
this is all there was. Because now they back out into Fog of War and Yike says, okay, let's clear a little bit of vision, but Labrov's portal just sends the entire team into Yike, and he doesn't have the Crescent Guard, he doesn't have the flash, and the Encore is not enough to save his life.
Lavrov does go down at the end of this play, but you can see Yahoo tries to step forward, Kalist and Busio just forced away. You don't have enough CC to really be standing around that locale anymore. G2 do have to call up the Baron. Well played by KC to force that happening. Kana should be able to get out with it between worlds, through the arm into the wall. He doesn't have an escape path left. Lavrov here, a magical journey into Temper Fate catches two. Hansama puts down a trap and the Seraphine will eat it up. Now Kalist has to try and turn his attention to anyone that he can kill before he goes down. But the answer is nulla point for the Petit Pons.
Sad ništa, Yike mora da stila. Gle ga gore. Problem je što, mislim da oni da, očistit će Ward, Yike nema visiona više unutra. I sad mora da blind W-a i da se nada da će pogoditi pravo vrijeme, a Kav zna da je Yike tu. Igrao je sa Yikeom. Ili možda ne zna, otišao da klira top. Ali Yike će da umre svejedno. I ovo je Baron i verovatno game za G2. Dobro. Skewman EU GOAT ljudi moji. Još samo Bibija da kikuje za Oskarinina i to je to. Mislim da je to plan. Viš ti Kalista, čovječe, kako nestaje. Malo problem Sash. Mislim, ima nekoliko problema Sash, ali... prvi problem je što Kalista ne znam šta radi s buildom. Ne znam zašto ide na Kraken. Kraken je toliko shit item. A druga stvar je što ne može da igra u Olafa. Šta god da builda ne može da igra u Olafa, tako da...
They might just push for the base here.
They've got the Baron buff as well for the next 4 waves. Ace in the hole, blocked by Yike. Broken Blade pushing in mid, but no one can
Da, ovo će biti brza serija izgleda.
They set their eyes on this bot lane tier 3. It will be raised, and G2 raising the intensity of the fight at the top of the table, it seems. They continue to push forward, KC. The Aurora isn't here, just got back from their recall from the top side, and G2 begins to back away, and the Chaos onto Caps. Between worlds goes Kana, Caps goes unstoppable, and Kana...
Ja Hansam in damage. Raskilovao lobby Hansama, nema šta. Da je nebitno što je Kalista untouched, tako je Kalista untouched, bro Hansama je untouched. Ok, malo grifuju sad. Dobar ult, sad trebaju hard commitiju na Ash ili da hard commitiju na Nexus, jedno od ta dva. Nice, što eksplodira Nexus. Ok. Good stuff, iskreno. Brza serija, G2 stompa. Moram da priznam da nisam baš očekivao da će ovako da se razvije, ali nije da se bunim. I brz dan je ok dan, što bi se reklo. Lepo. Nisam očekivao će G2 ovoliko da stompa, ali da... Vitality? Ne igra Vitality. U stvari, je li igra Vitality? Znam da igra koji. A ne znam biti... Giants i koji. Giants i koji. Danas imamo Giants i koji. Što će biti giga cool jer oni se biju tu za 3., 4., 5., 6. mesto. Znači nabadiju se za taj middle pack. sutra gledamo G2 Giantse, koji KC, i prekosutra gledamo KC Giantse, koji G2. Znači, samo su te 3 ekipe ostale da igraju, one su u Madridu sad na tom road show. To je fora. Da Vitality pretekne KC. KC je sad izgubio G2-a. I to je mi jedini lose. Sad imaju isti ali znaš što je isto fora, da li gube 2-1 ili 2-0 je dosta bitna stvar. To je fora. Tako da mislim da ovaj 0-2 lose ih je baš iznabadao. Mislim Vitality izgubio 2-1 ako se ne varam. Tako da KC ima još koji i Giantse. Moraju da pobede obe, a mislim da čak i da pobede obe, ja mislim da moraju da pobede obe 2-0 ako hoće dalje. Jer imaju oni onaj game diff. Kao koliko pobediš, koliko izgubiš, to je fora. Uglavnom, idemo na pauzicu 14 minuta, idem ja malo da se iskuliram, jer baš sam se išetao ozbiljno danas. Slušamo intervju i vidimo se nakon pauze.
Because of you. Talk to me about the motivation to make sure that they lost their first series today.
We didn't really put much thought into them, like rather on how we play. Especially after last time we took a lot of losses here in Madrid. And today and tomorrow and the day after we obviously want to change history a little bit here. So
I see you have unfinished business in Madrid. I see it. But tell me a little bit about the second game. Specifically, right? Because you did give them a lot of false hope. They were very much ahead. Tell me what happened, how you turned it around.
To be honest, I think they did a little bit too many mistakes. We also did a lot of mistakes, I have to say. But I was really happy with how Skew was playing the second game. He was very strong. His pick was very good against the enemy champions, and he scaled really well into the game. And he gave us a lot of confidence, especially on the bot side, to like win these fights. So I think that was a very big key of why we won this game.
Okay. Did you see that Genji, they played a Lulu, Kog'Maw, Shen comp, and you know there was talks about how at first stand, of course, they had learned some lessons. How does it feel to be the people that dictate the international meta?
It feels great, you know what I mean? But for us, we focus on ourselves. Always pick what's best. I mean, for me, you know, like just play what I think is the best. And today it was Nar, you know. Would you say Nar is a broken blade champ?
I think every champ is a broken blade champ.
Exactly. That's what I was gonna say.
Oh.
So you were reading my mind here. Yeah. So thank you very much.
How good was your Kled?
Oh, I love my Kled. Many people love my Kled. You know, I love playing it as well. It's very fun. It's very different, very unique. Kind of like it mirrors how like my personality, I would say, you know. Yeah.
I don't think so, because you're being so PR and Kled is a little bit more assertive.
I don't think I'm being very PR right now. I don't know what you guys think. No. So just me personally, I'm very excited to be here again back in Madrid. So
I love the way you say Madrid.
Okay.
Final question. You said it already a little bit, but you have unfinished business, right? So do you have a message for, you know, the Spanish teams that you're going to be facing? GX tomorrow, MKOI on Sunday.
Playing against the Spanish team, Spanish crowd, it's always tough. You guys really make sure you guys are loud. Hopefully you will be loud anyways for us as well, a little bit. So yeah, I'm excited.
We are too. Thank you. Broken Blade. How can he have so much energy
and yap so much after what he did in game? I do not know, but I do know we have Skimon. Thank you so much for joining us. Congrats. First loss for KC. How do you reflect on this one? The first game was easy, the second one not so much?
Yeah, I mean, I'm honestly like pretty happy with the first game. I think it was like pretty controlled and like smooth. The second game was a bit more spicy, let's say it that way. But in a way, I'm also proud that we were actually able to like actually adapt during the game, even though it was not the easiest one. Honestly, like I started by losing my camps, we were dying on bot, dying on mid, but we found a way to actually get back into it, and I think it was pretty nice to see.
Yeah, let's talk about that early game actually, shall we?
Because that was insane. Like, you talk about you're dying on mid and your support's dying. Then KC's dying on mid, then KC dies in river, then you're dying over here. It was bedlam. So how do you try and like keep track of everything that's happening here?
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I think the most important thing for us was actually to like track the flashes as much as we can. So it kind of gave us a guiding line on like actually understanding who we can like go into. Like, for example, when Ares has no flash, I can maybe like look for gank mid, or like when jungle has no flash, maybe we can focus him on teamfight, stuff like this. But yeah, honestly, it's just like a lot of like adaptation and instinct, I think, in this kind of games. And yeah, as I mentioned before, I think we had like some good stuff, so I'm really happy with like how we played. Yeah.
That was great. That was great. I feel like G2 is ramping up. Playoffs is coming.
Yeah.
Yeah, the usual.
But I think it is really sick to see, because I think like this really shows that there was so much on either side with both teams trying to just find any sort of leverage that they could. Like KC bringing down Kana a ton, like we saw it a little bit later in some of these fights as well. It really felt like just an arms race as to who could bring as many people as possible into all these fights, and then end up blowing up later on in the game.
I mean, a couple of weeks back, we were like, KC is undefeated. Are they the best team in the LEC? And then they played in France, and it was like, ooh, some weaknesses getting exposed here. So what is your read on the team right now that you beat them? And you're the only one who did so.
Because I said this.
Yeah, he said that.
Yeah, kind of. I mean, like, honestly, I'm not really sure, like, how to phrase it. I mean, I do believe they're a really good team, like very like top 2 contender, in my opinion. They can for sure like make it to MSI. I do think that, I mean, I'm not really sure. Like when we play against them on scrims, they're always doing like some nice stuff. But when it comes to Sage, maybe they're like undecisive on like what to do, or like maybe the game is like slower pace, so maybe they find it's like maybe harder for them to find like actually openings, how to like get an advantage during the games. But yeah, I mean, I do think they're very strong. And yeah, honestly, it's like kind of like split. I think they just have like really strong laners, and usually when they get ahead individually on their 1-on-1 or like 2v2s, that's where they shine the most. But yeah, like when the games are like kind of equal, I think it's like a bit harder for them, in my opinion.
I see. And what about you, Skimon? Because you're the key player of this series today, and I feel like after first stand, it was like, okay, top 2 jungler in the world. He had Canyon's phone number during that series. And then you took a bit of a dip, I want to say. But now you're back, so how do you reflect on your form right now compared to first stand and your peak?
Yeah, I mean, I do believe like the after first stand was like a really hard time for me personally, both inside and outside of the game. And I found myself just like playing way worse. And obviously like there's like many factors, right? Like first, like probably like the expectations that people have on me and on myself. And I was putting kind of like a lot of pressure on me to like actually play good, and I just ended up playing worse, so it wasn't the greatest. But I mean, as of today, I'm pretty happy with how I played. But my main focus is like how to stay like consistent with these performances on my day-to-day, and yeah, I just hope that I'll be able to keep like this mindset and show my performance.
How do you feel about the jungle meta at the moment? Because you kind of have like the Olaf that you're bringing in a little bit more. We see Skarner on the fringes, but it feels like you're more willing to jump into like picks that aren't Pantheon, Vi, these kind of things. Do you feel like you have a better understanding and feel like you can play more of these styles, or is it just a team supports you differently than the rest?
I do believe that like most of the champs are like for sure like really strong. I think it's like really like team to team based, in my opinion. Every team has like their own read and like way of playing the game, whether it's like engage champs, tanking champs like Skarner, Sejuani, or like maybe like AP junglers. I don't know, maybe there's some people playing this. But I think like in the end what matters the most is like how you play as a team. And I really think it's like there's no like actual like top 1 champion in jungle at least. So I think that's kind of nice to see. Like every champion can be played against. Like it's like mostly trades, and you have like some room to be creative. Like for example with the Olaf, but I do believe like there's way more room to play different champs as well. But I think it just depends of like each player individually and as a team.
Talking about some champions, I want to ask you about some players and some hot takes that we had at the beginning of the day. The first one is about one of your teammates. Someone said, I'm not going to name them, that Hansama is the most underrated player in the league. Do you agree that he's underrated?
I mean, like I don't know every player, right? So I can't really say. But obviously, like if you look at the top teams and like who we are talking about most of the time, I do believe that even for Labrov, if I may as well, I do believe like our bot lane is like really underrated. People don't really put a lot of respect on like what they are bringing, and I can tell for sure that they are probably like the best bot lane in the league. And yeah, as for Hansama, I do believe like a lot of people like don't praise him as much as he should. I think he's putting like a lot of performances, even in first end, right? Like I know like a lot of people were talking about my performances, but like Hansama just got like Diablo and Ruler back to back, you know, like he just played insane. So I think he for sure deserves like this statement.
He did, and he was showing a lot of confidence also doing so. Another take that we have is our best players are from NA. So we're talking about Buzio and Jojopian here, obviously.
I mean, I do believe they are like two really, really good players. Like, don't get me wrong.
Okay.
I'm not sure like if they're like actually top 2. I don't even know who is top 1 or top 2. Like, I know that a lot of people are talking about us like before first stand and coming to this LEC Spring Split. But honestly, when I look at our regular season, I don't think we're like really good.
Okay.
So I do believe like looking at the regular season of Koi and like KC, I do think these two players are like probably like the most performing of their team individually. So I can see it, right? So yeah, I don't remind.
So then you say that Jojopian is the best player in the league, but we've also asked people on social media who's the best player in the LEC right now. What is your answer to that, Skimond? Of course, you're going to say someone from your team, I guess. But
I mean, like, no, you know what? I'll do a challenge. I will not say anyone from my team.
Okay.
And we talk only about the regular season, right, so far?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, I think Jojopian was playing very good. Like, makes sense. Who else? I don't think Village was playing also very good on his team. I think I would say like Jojopian or Village, honestly.
Yeah. The jungle has been really stacked overall, honestly.
It's
So yeah, that's going to be something we keep an eye on for playoffs. Thank you so much. Merci beaucoup for joining us today. And we're going to take a break now. We'll be back in a couple minutes. It is going to be GX versus MKOI entering the stage.
And the Ash Seraphine combination coming up. Jumps all together. Kams has to flash away. Yehu's still holding on to his flash. Skewmon looking for the chase. And we'll find it with the reckless swing.
We can win. I don't go. I don't know flash. I don't know jump. Get together, yeah. Don't. You win. Click. Nice. Wait. He's gonna eat. Okay, it's fine. He's out, I think. Guys. No, he's not out. I don't have damage. Yeah, just come in. Ask me. Okay, never mind. Nice, guys. Good jump. I'm hitting. Yeah, GG. We good? Nice, guys. Very good job. Nice, good job.
Want to find your fastest server every time? Express like a pro and optimize your connection in one tap. Express in game without ISP throttling. Express and shield yourself from DDoS attacks. Express and choose the VPN trusted by gamers everywhere. Express VPN. Experience gaming the Express way. Fast, stable, competitive. Outplay the world. It's time to Express. Unlock free Hextech rewards, exclusive skins, and more. Scan to subscribe.
The human body was built to move. Not trapped at a desk in one singular posture for 12 hours a day. It's time your chair evolved. This is Secret Lab Titan Evo. Ergonomically engineered for you, gamers, hybrid workers, artists, backing your every move.
It's time for GX versus MCoin. I'm here with the two coaches. I got Kyoto and I got Melzet. Can you come in a little bit closer because I have to? My arm is not that long. First up, do you know each other? Yeah, obviously. Do you like each other?
No, I hate this guy. Every time I see him, I cannot stand him. Even doing this interview is already, like, I cannot believe that I'm here. Yeah.
Melzet?
He's fine. He's an oldie, you know, like he wants to protect what his legacy, but sadly we are taking over.
Yeah, you think it's a bit jealousy?
Yeah, I think so. I think he's old. You know.
Oh, what do you think about that?
I mean, old is not the same as jealousy, but no, not jealous at all.
I know.
I mean, on a serious note, I really hate him.
Well, I was gonna ask if there's something that you like really like about each other's coaching style. So let me start with you then.
Let me think. Can't think anything.
Oh no, that's crazy. And you?
I mean, it's yeah. I mean, the thing that I like about him as a coach, probably his salary. No, I'm joking. I mean, to be fair, I mean, it's always really hard to know what other coaches do. But we did share some players, and it's really easy for me to talk with some of his players. So probably a lot of the methodology that he has, the fact that he believes in something and follows something, is something that I like. Yeah.
See?
I mean, now he's nice.
Yeah.
Now, okay.
You gotta say something nice now.
Yeah. I mean, qualifying for Worlds is nice. He should try it sometime. But now in a serious note, I think all his teams develops, and it shows that probably there's a really good work behind it. Because even though he says like you cannot see what the coach is doing, all his teams I think overperform. So I think that's really good.
I love it. Finally, tell me what you expect from this weekend for your team. What has to be achieved?
I mean, I told them that to me is just a fresh start, because honestly we had 20 days of break, so it's really hard to know how we are looking as a team. But practice has been going a bit worse recently. Mainly due to the lack of competition. I think that the players have a harder time on keeping it together. So to me, just using this the same way that we used Madrid last time to change a bit the course of things is to use this weekend to do the same.
Nice. I hope it works out for you. He doesn't, of course, because it's first is his team. So what do you expect from this weekend? What do you need to show as MCoy?
I think we need to show what we are doing in scrims. I think we need to reach that level. So that's the objective. And also it's like similar to last spring. We want to start ramping up in order to win playoffs.
Okay. Wonderful. Will you shake hands, actually? I don't know if we get it on camera. There we go. They get along, guys. All right, here we go.
Forget about player, bencher, coaches, frenemies is where it's at right now. That was absolutely fire. And honestly, a good premise of what we're going to have on stage, because this is the two Spanish teams we have. We know how things went last year, and we know especially how things went for GX. They found their fire in front of the Madrid crowd last year.
Yeah, I mean, 2-1 in the series. The fact that you end up with MCoy just being able to eke that out was absolutely insane. But I do think, like, we have started to see a teeny tiny bit of growth from GX. Like, we saw what Isma and Jackie's were doing in the mid lane. We saw in versus what we could get from Noah and Jun. I'm just hoping that both of those sides can play together at one, and we get an absolute banger series for Giant X.
Yeah, I mean, for me, Jackie's as a player has been stepping up. The ultimate question will be, can he step up to the man in the mid lane? I have so much confidence in Jojo as a player. We heard it from Nuke last week in the LEC when we asked him, when playing against MCoy, what have you got to think about? And Nuke himself said, well, I feel like that if you can't even fight them in mid lane, then the game already becomes difficult. So that is the man that I'm keeping my eyes on in this matchup. Can Jackie's continue to level up? Because to be fair, he's had a fantastic split.
He has. He has been really, really impressive. I think the fact that like we've seen him kind of take on this role as nearly leading from the front. Like, I think about the Ari where he's trying to fish for these charms, where he's trying to set up these plays. I think about him working with Isma, trying to look for these invades. I think it really has kind of seen that growth from Jackie's into starting to be a bit more of a leader alongside Isma and the team. And that, for me, is something that I've been looking for a long time. I'm just hoping, again, that we get to see the team as a whole step up, because as we get the mid and jungle stepping up, we haven't seen that same success from Noah and Jun. And especially, as I said, in versus, that Noah was the focal point. Like, he looked fantastic on things like the Kaisa. He looked like he was able to get these big leads with Jun. Jun looked great on these engaged champions like the Nico, but now that we're shifting that meta away from having a bit more of that brute force in the bottom lane, they haven't found that success.
And I want to remind viewers at home that it's anyone's game when it comes to this.
Yes, you're
where
right.
you position in the standings. If production can bring up that graphic we had in Ready Check to showcase where each of the teams can finish, because it really emphasizes that it really can go any way. And we've already seen what I would describe as the first upset of the weekend. KC, their undefeated streak has now ended. G2 already looking like they're in playoff form. Which team shows up today? Who will end up getting the crowd buff? Who will be able to lock in? Because a single series win can completely change the dynamics and put you in a position to get that top 4 spot and that double elimination bracket.
I do think as well for Movistar Koi, they kind of need a little bit of a lift over the course of the weekend. Like we heard Oyoya, who was on the PGL with us last week, where he was like, look, we are struggling. We have a lot of things that we're trying to figure out. It feels like we don't have that same level of confidence to try and play our game on this stage. And I think you can see it. Like, we're not getting that same link between Oyoya and Alvaro to try and take over in the early stages. We're seeing moments where they get caught out, where they don't look on the same page. And for a team that was so consistent in driving their early game leads to wins, we just haven't seen that same level of threat for them. So for me, I'd love to see Movistar Koi come in and with this crowd behind them, in their home arena, say, no, this is our town, we get to show you who's boss, have strong early games, play in towards those invades, play into what made them such a threat the entire time they've been here.
Yeah. This, in front of their audience, we hear the trumpets behind them, and those trumpets are here for them. But on the other side, we've talked about it, GX found their fire last year. Let's see if they can do it again this time around. Let's send it to the stage.
Pues efectivamente hay un ambientazo espectacular aquí en Madrid. El partido que acabamos de vivir ha sido la bomba. Pero es que Mellado, el partido que viene ahora es una locura.
Ambos juegan delante de su público. Son los dos equipos con más afición en este país. A los dos le gusta jugar en esta casa. Se viene partidazo entre Yayas y Movistar Koi.
Nunca se han enfrentado en territorio español, pero vienen decididos a ganar desde Málaga. ¡Yayas!
En la doble.
Support y como entrenador
Kill Auto. A continuación juega nuestro equipo, jugamos en casa. Nos encanta jugar en casa y vienen con ganas de arrasar este fin de semana. Pónganse en pie, que viene Movistar Koi.
Viene de una última semana espectacular. Tiene muchas ganas de padrear en la tablet.
rey es español, Javier Prades.
Es el mejor jugador de Europa en estado de forma, el de la sudadera, el guaperas, el chulito y de nombre, Joselito en la meta.
Viene desde Murcia con ganas de demostrar que es el mejor AD Carry de la LEC. Él es David Martínez.
Y ahora es el turno de su pareja de baile, de su guardaespaldas, del que siempre está ahí cuando le necesitas como support, Álvaro.
Y por último, pero no por ello menos importante, el alquimista, el líder del estanque, el mejor entrenador de la LEC. ¡Fuerte aplauso! ¡Ruido, ruido, ruido! ¡Madrid! ¡Que se note que jugamos en España! Ibai, pues stream todo vuestro.
And here we go, ready for the second series of the day, starting much earlier than I think a lot of people anticipated, as G2 demolished KC in a quick 2-0. And now Giant X and MCoy get to take the stage in front of the boisterous fans here. And no, really?
There's a lot of trumpets, there's a lot of drums, the ambience is fantastic, and the fans cheer very loudly for the MCoy players, and I think they are the favorites coming in for this match. Fair to say.
I 100% agree with you. I think that the MCoy, not only because they're here in front of their own fans, but also because they've just been slightly better as a team. We talked a lot about GX coming out swinging at the start of the season, and then they began to collapse. After about the 4-game mark, we started to see losses to Na'Vi, we started to see losses to teams around them, and the question became, it moved from how are GX at the top of the table to how do GX become better than just gatekeepers to the top of the table?
I mean, absolutely, and I think GX had the most exponential difficulty curve splits I think I've seen in quite some time. They started with playing the lower teams, and now going into the last 3 games, they have MCoy, G2 and KC ahead of them. So it is, as you
I evo nas nazad, ljudi moji, druga serija dana, gledamo koji protiv Giantsa, kao što ste čuli i po samoj publici. Očigledno favoriti su im tu, mada ekipa Giants je u teoriji Španije, samo što napomenuo sam, njihova fan baza nije ni blizu dok s druge strane koji zbog Ibaja definitivno ima ozbiljnu količinu fanova.
No Nautilus ban stands out to me. It's one of the most banned champions in D123, mostly because of how popular these range supports are. But when I look at the supports in these two teams, Alvaro and Jun, these two players do not want to be on enchanters. They are engaged players for their teams. We've had MKOI coach going out talking about they kind of struggle when Alvaro is not the one initiating most of the fights because they're so used to him being the main engaged player. And I think GX in spring has had a kind of a similar journey when the fact that when Jun is not playing the Rels, the Nautiluses, the Rakans, sometimes they do struggle to find
Vaj Nocturne. Dobro. Dva skoro pa ista heroja. Jedan malo više brsta, drugi malo više harci i sija.
These teams want to be diving. They better be diving, and we're gonna see a lot of follow-up drops now coming out.
Yeah, Giant X looking to shore up their bot side with the Caitlyn. You can pair this up with things like the Karma, but as you said, I'd much prefer to see Jun on something like a Nico here,
and
right?
Nico,
And Nico would be
really
so
out.
nice
Yes.
in this sort of situation. The Vi already locked in for MKOI. That states their intent, usually, in terms of draft. You can play Vi without full dive, but not always the way that you want to go. Expect to see AD carry support, most likely here for MKOI. You can leave the support. You could go AD mid, I guess, and then use your support on the second round. Especially with engaged support, it's actually quite a large pool to pick from, so you're not worried.
Ništa od tima, Ezreal Karma. Verovatno. Ezreal Bard. Isto fajn, Nami je okej. Nautilus je čudan, Morgana ima Jana, sve to okej. Nautilus bi baš bio čudan. Ali Karma mislim da je samo da najbolja stvar, nema šta.
So they opt in for the Ezreal Karma, which is objectively a really strong bot lane. Yeah. But now Alvaro is not on an engaged champion. He is on the Karma, and now suddenly the Nautilus that is usually banned for the Karma blind is free and able to be picked up here for June.
I will say, although we talk about Alvaro not being an enchanted player, has won both the games he played on Karma this split.
Absolutely, yes.
100% win well on it. Still very good player. We just, if you're looking at MKOI, their engine, the pistons that fire together are Elioya and Aldra.
Yes.
And when they can fire at the same time, I don't know if that's how engine works, but we're going to pretend it is. When they can fire at the same time, you get this combustion in the middle of a team fight. When they don't, when they're mismatched and they're, I mean, I'm pretty sure pistons are meant to be mismatched. When they're mismatched anyway, it doesn't tend to work out as well for them. But Ezreal Karma, as you say, very strong bot lane. Good as well into the Caitlyn in isolation because you can get pushed in that lane and Ezreal can farm from range. The risk becomes, if you get caught out by a Nautilus early doors, you burn your flash on the Karma, you are then a sitting duck.
Yeah, it's a lot about confidence in this matchup for the Karma. The confidence to be able to step up against the Nautilus, keep your Inspire, I think the E is called, on yourself to be able to sidestep the hook with that extra movement speed. If you do not play like this, then suddenly Caitlyn and Nautilus just get so much free reign because you are, in the end, playing Karma against a melee support. You need to push him in and you need to poke him down. And if you're too scared to do it because the threat of a Nautilus hook, suddenly the Karma loses a lot of its value and Nautilus just gets through lane freely.
Yeah, if you're standing back and only chucking out a Q every now and again, Titan's Wrath, the Nautilus shield, just eats that.
Yeah.
He'll also run Second Wind, which makes it so easy for him just to heal up all of that damage that you're putting down. So you need to be consistently in his face. You need to be sending him down to the depths. Rise, LeBlanc.
Sublind you mid.
Set of bans, a heavy mid lane focus from both these teams.
Yeah, eyes on the Rumble.
Osim ako nemaš neki hard cheese, onda blindaš top. Ali Lot je cheeser, on igra V na topu. Ja mislim da blindaš mid ovde.
Now GX, do you want to take the Rumble and allow yourself to get counterpicked in top even though there's barely any counters, or do you just pick your mid lane here? Looks like it's gonna be an Akali, and we were talking about dive, we were talking about going in, and finally we see people draft mid lane assassins together with the Nocturne, and Akali on the flank becomes so much more threatening when the lights are turned off. So do like this pickup for Noah, and we'll see where Jojapyun takes this, because suddenly he can counterpick this Akali with whatever champion he wants. We'll still expect the Rumble to come out as the blind pick for Mirwin, as we saw that Ornn banned before. Rumble by very easy combo. Put the cease and desist on the equalizer,
on top
and
of
it's a free kill almost always. So that is quite telegraphed.
So now MKOI going to pick for their mid lane. Jojo has been their star player once again this split. The question is, what are you putting into his hands?
Could even go an AD mid here if you want to, like pick a AD carry mid to punish the Akali. I think anything that just pushes the Akali in will do the job.
Okay.
Will be a Victor lock-in here for Jojapyun, which is still a very good matchup early into the Akali. but once she gets that perfect execution, can be a little bit tricky, considering there's a paranoia on the enemy team.
Is there any risk of an Akali flex atop here? Akali into Rumble doesn't seem to me like it would be a good matchup, but it's a possibility.
It is a fine matchup.
Okay.
I think actually someone that brought it out early in his career was Mirwin. He played a lot of Akali into Mirwin, into Rumble in general. He went for the Comet and just kind of poked him down slowly.
Окей. Mislim, silno nespretni šta god. Više bi volio smo gledali Galija. Galio Nocturne i Giga dobar kombo. Tako da mislim da su Giants imali više potencijala malo da da iščizaju.
I like the innovation, and I think if you play Sion against something like an Ornn, probably not a Cassante just due to the damage that Cassante has, but I do understand where the map is coming from. The thing is, Sion already has a lot of bonus HP in his kit, so if he wants to become tanky, he needs resistances, because the more HP you get...
Doran's helm into Leandri's.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I don't think it's going to be this game you're going to go Leandri Sion.
Nah, I don't think it makes
I'm not saying Leandri Sion can never work, but it needs certain circumstances for it to be very valuable. Most likely we're going to see either a Kanik Rukern or a Hollow Radiance rush here from Mirwin, because there's double AP in the enemy team, and he will be shilling there.
I mean, Rukern actually would be really nice. You'll see Mirwin, if we're not going to be in game for the tech. Mirwin is going to do the double glowing moat tech here in the base to get himself towards the danger zone, so he has a little bit more damage in the lane. What this means is when you are playing Rumble, you can go double glow moat, you use 3 E's, I want to say, 3 of those electro harpoons, it gets you into the danger zone, you then sell the double glow moat or undo the purchase of them and get yourself a Doran's ring to go back into the lane. Gets you into that danger zone, empowers your skills just a little bit, but
Ne mogu zamislim da to radim na Rumble, iskreno.
most Rumbles do it these days.
Yeah, I mean, you can do it if you go the CDR shard. You can do it without the modes to kind of get into the danger zone, but if you want to go the double adaptive, you need the modes to get in there before the minions spawn.
Kakav tryhard, čo? Mislim, razumem, ajde. Nisam znao da je to stvar, ali okej.
He's gonna flash this wall right now. Let's see Isma, he's gonna flash this wall and start the enemy.
Flashuje zid, bro. Kakav je, šta je s ovim gameom?
He's at the enemy red. Take note, says Isma. His creative pathing has actually been something we have seen on display a lot throughout the course of this split. Elioya too, very creative with his pathing, but here he is going to lose his red, might even lose his razor beak.
Is he gonna level 3 gank bot from MKoi's own
Could be a
red
mid
side
gank.
here?
Could be a 2 mid gank.
Yeah, but Akali doesn't have the same setup as a Nautilus. You have Nautilus into Karma. Karma will be wanting to push up in this matchup. I think Isma is onto something really serious.
Interesantno. Baš fun start Isme, iskreno. Znači, flashovo se preko zida, otišao na red, petuje ka botu i level 3 botlane gank ti je skoro sigurno kill sa Nautilusom. Level 2 gank? Ne, 3 gank, ne možeš 2 gank. Bro, nemaš fear. Mora čeka wave.
He's waiting for the wave to pass. Now goes in with the Dustbringer, so yeah, that whole time he did have to wait, otherwise he would have been seen by these minions. And Elioya, though, is about to see he has no chickens.
Out now. Nocturne is in my jungle.
Da, i odmah ga pinguje Elioya i botlane bi samo trebao odmah da povuče nazad. Oni grifaju. Super Alvaro hard grifaju. June flasha ovdje. Ok, ne flasha. I guess they're fine. Ajoj, June. Pa ne mene hukom. Pa ne mene hukom.
Elioya goes into the tri-bush, but is going to get forced away. The wave is pushing towards Giant X.
But sure, you have the Karma move, but does Karma really want to face again? Nautilus that's just standing here as the bouncer. Really good early heal by Alvaro, gets them out of that situation, but now suddenly it's Elioya's turn to have fun. And he's walking into this jungle with Alvaro backing him up.
Shroud of Darkness, there's the Fear Tether as well, will force Elioya away. Focus resolve from Alvaro into the Mantrid in a flame. Takes Isma down to 200 HP, and now his jungle is forfeit. We have seen this before. We have seen this from Elioya as well with this aggressive pathing.
Yeah, I mean, the other game against Shio, Elioya actually started in the enemy jungle, just like Isma did today. So he's no stranger to weird pathings, and he knows how to adapt very well. Now, I want to say that gank actually would have worked, unless Isma had to wait for the wave to pass.
It was the wave timing.
Because it's a game of inches, and those 5 seconds that he spent waiting for the wave to pass was enough for Elioya to tell his bot lane, he's behind you, you need to back off.
So importantly right now, Elioya has only taken the blue buff away. He's going to take the Gromp. Jun and Noah might try and keep him away from the Wolves. With the TP coming into the mid lane, Jackie's is still going to get pushed in. Jojo's already TP'd back. It will be a one camp total benefit to Isma, because he's got his Krugs, he can go and get the topside scuttle, and then he can come back for his Wolves. Depending on how Elioya parts out here, is Elioya going to go straight for Razorbeaks? Or is he going to try and contest the Scuttle crowd?
I don't think you want to contest the Scuttle. Look at Jackie is actually playing this matchup really well, having pushed for this exact timer, knowing that you have a Victor against an Akali. The Akali is way happier to take these fights in the river compared to the Victor early game. So Isma will get the crab, but still, we'll just recall now and probably pick up the same items that Elioya already has.
Double longsword instead of the Ruby Crystal. The delay on the Wolves does cost Isma as well. His camps haven't been cycled as quickly. For Elioya, there's a kind of miscycling as well, because his bot side was dying as he was doing his top side, but he's going to be able
Ne znam šta da mislim o ovoj seriji, iskreno. Giants su generalno jako dobri early game, ali ko je jako random ekipa. Nekada su samo gotovi, a nekad prste nemaju. Jako je teško formirati mišljenje o Giantsima, najiskrenije.
In a game where the jungle pathing is this chaotic, it becomes very unconventional. And I think this is where both these junglers thrive, because it's all going to be about that race for level 6. Because both Vi and Nocturne just wants to get level 6 as soon as possible to start allowing themselves to actually make plays.
And you can see the supports know about it as well. Alvro there to cover the Razorbeak contest.
Oh, Jun is here though.
Jun is here, Elioya. Well, they don't know where Alvro is. So it could have been quite quickly a 3v2 without Jackie's ability to join up.
Yeah, I think if Jackie has the perfect execution, he wants to take that fight, but level 5 Akali is not that strong.
Isma is homeless though.
Yeah, he's just walking around.
His Razorbeaks are coming up now. His Krugs will be a while before they're back up. And while all of this is happening, Elioya very happily just farmed top to bot, left his Krugs up, is going to take the Drake, and that race to level 6 has been hit.
I mean, Elioya is definitely winning the race right now. He is Max Verstappen in the jungle matchup. Elioya almost has the same ring to it.
I was hoping you'd join in, but apparently only I do the songs.
I haven't been in LEC for that long for me to do songs, but it's coming, don't worry about it. As Joji put
Arcane Storm goes down just to make sure Jackies can't really threaten him.
Viktor mora da ga vidi da bi mu ulti radio damage, to je jedna stvar.
Still a 40 CS to 40 CS game. I mean, Elioya is one camp up now as he will take his Krugs.
I mean, 40 to 40 CS in the jungle. In the mid lane, it's a 63 to 46 CS.
Nebitan je mid. Akali će uvek gubiti u early od Viktora. Pre 6. levela ti nije igriv matchup, tako da mislim da je to sasvim okej.
Nearly the best in a ton of things, guys. Like, his KDA is middling-ish, but his kills and assists at 14. Jackie looks for the play on him. Jojo flashes away. He's fine. CSD at 14, solo kills, damage per minute. This guy is off the charts in mid.
If you watch JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, as a really funny reference, this is actually the stat of the Star Platinum stat. He's just the best in every single category.
Flash from Jun lands the root. Jackie's there first blood. Super trying to do the damage because the will Arcane chip forward. Jojo Pyun with a laser, but not too much mana to back it up. Elioya looking for that bolt breaker back.
No, i dalje nema taj damage koji očekuješ od Kida, možda napravi razliku. Pogotovo ne sa fleetom.
And this is the reason you usually see these Nautilus bans when you want to play these enchanters. Suddenly taking River Vision is super scary if you have to go up against the Nautilus that can just hook you and either force your flash or kill you in a single ability cost. So great punish by GX, finding Alvaro alone in the river and gets themselves first blood.
Risky positioning for Noah though, he's having to step up. The wave is going to keep pushing away from him. He needs his support here because Elioya is waiting in that tri-bush. Now Jun is back out on the map. Bolt Breaker coming out. Even with the Inspire Shield, they won't go for any more further chase. Isma just hit level 6, so a Paranoia follow-up onto any beginning of a fight down towards that bottom side. Could have been disaster for MKOI. All pretty even between these two teams. Another hook is going to hit onto...
Nemaju oni damage za kill ovde. Caitlyn sad ne radi bukvalno dovoljno damage ni za šta.
See, Isma is shadowing here, but it's so difficult to look unless you have a Nautilus flash. You really want to flash hook the Karma really if you want to look good for this play, but it is difficult with Avaro.
Najjače sam upalio sam top chat, Warp i ne vidim tvoje poruke. Sad sam vratio na live chat i sad i tek vidim poruke, tako da sorry zbog toga, gde se sakrene. Ja gledam, vidim chat se ne mrda. I pogledam gore, stavljeno mi bilo na top chat. Svaki put kad resetujem chat, otvaram i top, ne znam zašto. Ali svaka čast, good stuff, brate moj. Ja sam naviću danas i klajmom. Mislim, Igraću danas solo queue-a, a danas sam odmoran, naspavao sam se, sinoć sam ranije lego, tako da se nadam da ću ja da ono bude malo svežiji da igram.
Assuming it's already been burnt, and it's just very risky for you in that situation.
Absolutely. I mean, saving race right now is a lot is very low mana, so can't really look top here. So Isma will instead just take the grubs as Alioya decides to go bot side instead.
Yeah, just doing its full clear once again. It's not going to be a full complement of grubs for Giant X. Two of them means that you don't get that notification on the screen as well. So it's like, oh, apparently you do. I thought you didn't get it if there was two.
I'm not sure exactly on the logistics. I think you should only get it once you see.
We might only see that because we're in spectator mode.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. But they're just proving me wrong.
But in the end, he can just look at the enemy laners, right, and see there are two grubs. You can see the debuff or buff under them.
That is true.
So Alioya will use his extra... two grubs, you can see the debuff or buff under them.
That is true.
So Alioya will use his extra timer to invade blue buff, considering Nocturne was spending a lot of time topside. Will be difficult.
In, Paranoia on towards the backline. Blast Cone has been used. Noah there. Cease and desist onto him, and Arcane Storm as well out of from Jojo. Jun is low. Jackie's here to join the party, but Super's here to back it up. Jackie's needs to get out, looking at that dash across with perfect execution. Focus, resolve, not going to find him. R2 effective there from Jackie's to get out. Noah having to dash out as well as Alioya continues to chase in. True Shot Barrage won't find its mark. And in the end, Giant X are able to escape the clutches of MCoy.
I mean, it's just a good invade by
Jackie's is back, Jackie's is back. Alvaro hit with the shuriken and Jackie's electrocutes him to death.
That's just a greedy base.
Yeah.
Surely they can have a ward right there. And you're just basing in front of an Akali that's steeping back, so... Greedy by Alvaro, will pay with his life, as now Mirwin is equalizing the wave top. He's gonna get himself a little recall.
He didn't clear it all out though.
Yeah, so he cancelled his base.
First means he doesn't quite have the damage.
Yeah, you really need the Fated Ashes.
Oh, he hadn't used his triple tonic elixir as well.
I think he's saving it for the all-in here.
Well, it does make sense, gives you damage against champs, right? Adaptive Force, at least that second one.
Yeah.
And now goes back, has a Fated Ashes. Jackie's being shepherded by Jun in the mid lane to make sure that he can get this push in the hard matchup. Alvaro, though, with no flash and with Isma on the flank, not enough CC out of Jun. If he's 6, that is a very dead Karma. She'll find her desserts.
Heal movement speed makes him able to get out of that scary scenario, as we see a swap here coming out from GX, putting the Caitlyn top into Rumble. I think after we used the equalizer, I think they opened from base. They're like, wait, we can just go top here, no equalizer and Rumble. We can just lane lock him. So he will have his TP though, so he can swap back if he wants to. But the Estral will struggle quite a bit here into the Sion. He might be full MR, but still that HP pool is substantial.
Yeah.
And the Kraken obviously blocking the Essence Flux and the Arcane Shift damage, so...
Oh, flash from Jojo, answered by a flash out from Jackie's. I think Jojo maybe with a Siphon Power auto attack would have had kill threat, but not quite going to have enough. 593 sacks already on lot, as you say, that health pool getting bigger from his Soul Furnace. And overall, solid early game from both these teams. Giant X with a slight lead, but a Drake over to MCoy is going to equalize that out. A couple of kills over to Jackie's as well, just as we sung Jojo's praises. Well, his enemy laner gets 2 kills, but he is still 30 CS up.
He's still ahead, yeah. A little bit surprised with his swap back here from GX. Feels like they're just dropping waves and using their Sion ult just to get 2 range creeps. They didn't really accomplish much with that swap, so... Kind of backtracking here, sending Caitlyn back into the Estral, and seems like these are the lane assignments that they want to. Maybe setting up for Nocturne plays easier.
Setupovali smo se, chillamo i dalje, mislim nema šta. Jackies je taj koji ima killova, on bi teo da pobegne u side u nekom trenutku samo da bude napast, mimo toga. Dobar. Još jedan. TP? Neće se bio oni ovdje, ne? Ajoj, supa. Ide Jackies malo izrifo ovdje od duše. Ovo je samo Jackies failovo, ne znam šta mu nije jasno ovdje, iskreno.
part of the perfect execution by Jackies there. And Mervin really saved that play because it was looking really dire for MKOI as once again Thor was one getting caught out by a fantastic hook by Jun and a paranoia to boot, as we'll soon have some more information on what this is all about.
Mislim da je Jackie spauzirao zato što nije uradio damage.
Something in that team fight didn't go the way GiantX expected it to. There's some sort of small mechanical thing, perhaps they think the arcane shift shouldn't have been able to get, like, that's hypothetical, but there was something in that team fight that GiantX disagreed with. Absolutely. I think we can all be sure of that.
Or someone spilled water, you know. It is still esports players, you know. We do like to spill waters every now and then, but
I mean, maybe it was a water spillage, maybe. It's just the timing of it. If it's like it happened, I immediately saw Jackie's look to the left and be like, pause, and it's like, okay,
I got some water here, buddy, okay.
Oh, yeah. Could be a water spill. You're right. I shouldn't hypothesize.
You're will see soon. In the meanwhile, we are looking at the ambience here in the MKOI arena. It is very, very high energy still. Every single time MKOI makes a play, it's a lot of trumpets being played.
Have you seen this new cat that MKOI have as their mascot?
Doesn't they have a new cat?
I've seen it around on Twitter. I don't actually know what it is.
I thought they were carps.
It's a little black cat. Oh. And it's actually quite cute. I'm going to put it out there. I have no idea what the association is.
Show me the cat.
Someone had it on their jersey, which is why I was talking about it.
Okay, I'm looking intently right now for cats.
Yeah.
Well, that's a poor with a mustache. That's not a cat. True. So we do see some GX fans still. They were very loud.
Imaju Giants, iskreno, respekt. Imaju fanove.
So they are really trying to fight the horde of MKOI fans here with their drums, with their energy. And trumpets, yeah.
That's true. You know, have I told you my fish facts?
You have, in fact, not told me your fish facts.
All right, so you know how fish usually travel in schools, right? Lots of fish together.
Yeah.
Koi tend to travel in packs of 4.
Really? Why?
Right? It's because if a predator comes along, what happens is 3 of the koi will swim one way and 1 of them will swim the other way.
Yeah.
And that's because you have the A koi, the B koi, the C koi, and then you've got the decoy. Anyway, GiantX reported a potential bug with Caitlyn. League officials are investigating currently. We'll see exactly what the potential bug was. There's lots of things that can go wrong with Caitlyn. We do have the arcane antagonist-protagonist.
We do have
the Vi and the Caitlyn.
I thought they were both protagonists, but I guess Caitlyn had that arc in the second season where she kind of went...
Exactly, she kind of went off the deep end. Vi also, you know, she had the arc where she teamed up with the bad guys, according to Jinx at least.
Yeah.
You know? One of those things.
And we do have Victor as well, who's kind of Space Jesus or some kind of...
I mean, it's true, man.
Cool cosplay.
Thing going on.
So it was a potential bug with
Caitlyn.
I
read that.
Yeah.
I did that while you were head in your hands.
I was very mad about your decoy joke.
That was understandable.
But we are now going to toss it to AD, who hopefully doesn't have any bad decoy jokes.
They've heard it all before.
You had to remind me that he said that. Like, honestly. That was a very British joke of Medic. But, yeah, interesting game so far.
Yeah, it's been bedlam. Like, it's been weird. Well, not bedlam, I suppose, but just strange decisions coming across. Because, like, we've seen a lot of these potential setups that have actually started with MKOI trying to seek these plays. And then in the end, it all falls apart because it ends up going across to GiantX. And we got the play in the Dragon Pit, where they try and play off of the bot lane push into trying to make something happen. Jackies gets a kill. Then we get a similar story. We're going in where it's like, oh, we're going to
Ništa, čekamo da se raščisti pauzica, da vidimo šta im smeta, da li će biti chronobreak ili ne, ali...
Alvaron range supports. I don't love it. It's kind of been the mantra, I feel, for MKOI this split.
It's a range support and it's karma.
Yeah, that's true. Is Karma on track to go on an 8-game lose streak? We're going to find out by the end of this game. But what I will say is that one of the things you highlighted at the beginning of the series was how, for Koi, it feels like that they don't have that same jungle support synergy that was so prominent in all of their success from last year, and even at the beginning of this year. With the shift over towards range supports, we have seen the shift in Alvaro. This game has just been getting caught out. Now, am I going to translate this into all of their splits problems? No.
Yes.
Oh.
Okay.
But I do really want to highlight how Isma's early pathing was really creative, the fact that GX are being super proactive on the map, and they are willing
Oni
to
uvek igraju dobro early. Znači, Giantsi uvek igraju dobro early game. Giantsi imaju problema. Znači, Giantsi nakon mid game-a ne znaju šta rade na mapi. Straight up ne znaju šta rade na mapi. I to je glavna stvar.
For me, with GX coming in today, the fact that we haven't seen them for 20 days, that they ended their week on 2 losses, the first ones that they got in spring. What face of GX are we going to see? And for me, I'm still surprised when I see junglers and especially teams in general not being ready for the Isma invades, because you know that it's bread and butter for him and you know that's what he's going to be coming for.
But it's also the fact that, like, I feel like kind of the creativity is always there, whether it's been a, hey, we're looking for an invade, or, you know, even he gets invaded on and then suddenly he, like, ganks top and gets 2 kills. Like, I think Isma has been really incredible in that regard, in redefining what he needs to do on the fly in a game, and kind of having that intuition to figure out what he needs to do on the fly, and I think that's been the most impressive part. So even here where it started to fall apart, like, he went for the invade, nearly got caught, had to try and adapt on the fly again. I think that's where Isma has been able to shine, and I think that's why he's been so successful in Giant X. It feels like he started to get that confidence to be like, no, this is what my bread and butter was when I was in the ERLs, when I was playing on Mad Lines, when I was trying to make a name for myself there. Now he's gotten to the LEC, and it feels like he's finding that spark again on Giant X.
Absolutely. But I will say that while GX were kind of leading this game, the pause happened just as Koi was swinging things back in their way, finding that fight on the bot side. If we do have an opportunity to get the replay of that, I would love to watch it again. But it's important to understand that it starts with a GX punish, catching Alvaro out, turning into a numbers advantage, and then the TP in from Mirwin is the thing that makes the biggest difference. The arrival of that top lane, the impact that they're able to find immediately. Jack is then overstays, and it's this play that's happened right now that could be the swing factor to put MKOI back in the driver's seat.
And that's the thing, we've been expecting, especially coming from like the synchronization of all the MKOI players, Mirwin stepping up when he's needed. Supa being able to come back, or like snowball leads. He didn't have a lead here, but for me, coming back when he's needed as well, that's where I'm going to wait for them, because GX had the upper hand in the first plays that we've seen. Are these MKOI players going to be able to rally around with their teams?
Sad istražuju u stvari verovatno da li Ezrealova je bilo bug, ali mislim da nije. Siguran sam da nije. Osim ako mi nismo vidjeli nešto što se dogodilo, a nama se na ekranu nije pokazalo.
From Giant X is still that tendency to over-aggress, right? And literally what we're seeing punished to a certain extent on this bottom lane is that over-aggression from Giant X. So I do think there are moments for both teams where MKOI can bring it back, where either it's MKOI playing well in a team fight or Giant X overextending. But I think I'm like feeling confident around the way Giant X have been playing. Like, I think they're doing a good job of like playing off of the lane strengths, playing off of Jun on this Nautilus as well, who has also been a little bit of a victim of this Enchanter meta to a certain extent. So the fact he's managed to get on the Nautilus and find these picks, I think is setting up Giant X well. I think it gives them a tool to try and play around then in team fights as well. And the bot lane for Super and Alvaro hasn't really got this massive lead. Like, I think they're still doing fine against the Caitlyn. So overall, I think it's in a good spot.
Let's take a look at that last play that we saw before the pause, actually, because this is where things start to shift and swing in MKOI's favor. So, Vedi, talk us through what happened and how they made it happen. We've talked about that TP coming in.
I dalje ne znamo što su pauzirali, znači.
To start the fight off, you can see that Jojo's still far away from the fight. So with GX having the numbers advantage, they pounce on this opportunity. The important thing is to keep your eyes on the minimap. As the TP comes through from Mirwin, they're ready to create this collapse. Jojo has now arrived, dishing out a ton of damage. A beautiful equalizer onto 2, sets up for Koi to find a play. The reactions from Super in this moment were fantastic. The fact that he dodged away from the assassination. The question for me is, I don't understand what the pause was about.
Isto. Baš mi nije jasno. Gledali smo fight, sve što se dogodilo bilo je relativno even. A Giantsi su izgubili su fight sad, tako da...
We don't often see Caitlyn bugs either. So, yeah. We'll see about this
She's
one.
been around for a while.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's like the interactions are limited in terms of what could go wrong here. Obviously waiting for some updates here, but talking a bit more about GX because you were a believer here. And for me, entering this split, something that we've heard from the coaching staff, from the players as well, is that they want to go away from this safe play style, taking a bit too many risks maybe sometimes, but at least creating some action on the map. What are they missing to go from the gatekeepers that they've always been into being that top team that they aspire to be when you look at the gameplay? Because it was often about the bot lane, and then mid-jungle started to step up. Is that what they're missing here?
But I think that's exactly it, right? Like, you're having these, like, incredible performance completely separated, which hasn't been great, and I think having them come together is what you really need.
League officials cannot confirm, the reported bug, so we will continue the gameplay on the Rift in a couple seconds. They're conducting rated checks as we speak, and I did not hear at all what you said.
I was just saying, you're good. I knew we need to get that in.
Okay.
Yeah, I think the main focus for me is that we haven't seen the two pieces come together as one.
I see.
And I think that's what I really want, is to see them come together as one. But we're going to have to send it over to the caster desk to see if they can come together as one and bring us through this game.
Yeah, we'll come together. We are going to jump back into the action in just a moment's time. Jackies did die at the end of that play. As, I can see the game playing, guys. I don't care about looking at us, I'm going to be honest. Let's look at the game playing. Jackies died. It was Mirwin who got both the kills out of that play out of MCoy, and the golden now swings in their favor.
Yeah, in the end, no bug was detected, and I think Mirwin with a great TP kind of saved.
Što god je bilo ovdje, nije ni bitno, nije bilo baga, očigledno. Giants su samo probali da izvuku neki ovaj fight nije okej situaciju. Što više, fight je bio sasvim okej.
Also, it was a while ago, but we're talking about the swap shenanigans from GX, moving no engine up to the top lane. Lot used his TP then. Yes. So that swap actually had a compounding effect where Mirwin never had to use his TP and now had TP to get here, whereas Lot was stuck in the top lane. Second Drake is well secured for MCoy. Just to give you a review of where we are, Mirwin, the major gold lead alongside Super for MCoy. Gold even between the two teams, but Isma and Jackies do have leads for Giant X to balance that out. We had 2 grubs to nil, 2 Drakes to nil in favor of MCoy. And overall, MCoy now seem to be in a solid position again in this game where they were falling behind. Giant X were 4-0 up.
I mean, the kills do favor GX, but in terms of gold, MCoy is still actually, I mean, they're dead even right now, but the fact that they have 2 dragons is such a boon. And now Cyan with the teleport that he has saved.
Jojo has no flash, and with the paranoia down, there's no escape for Victor. A glorious evolution leads to a rapid death as Jackie tanks the tower and dodges.
Oh, look at it, Yoya, he's coming in here, but maybe won't be in range.
Mega Blast Cone not taken by Jackies. Jun now the target for Elioya. Deck charge down, hook landing as well. Noah there with a snap trap. Jun will go down. Super able to arcane shift his way away. And Elioya and Super extricate themselves in the situation. And Elioya's looking to crack through the
Fajn, ima flash, ima barijeru. Trap mu je loš, Vaj završava iza tebe. Dobro, dobio je kill, mogu da odigra malo bolje ovo, ali ajde.
Elioya finds a crazy angle. That was a 2 versus 5 that he opted into with a quick pick onto Jun and then extending it onto Noah, finding himself 2 kills for 1 death. I still think is a fantastic retaliation considering the fact that Jojo goes down there, but he gets the wave. In the end, it's just a kill. And Jackie's health bar turns out to go so low here, so it is difficult for him to extend it into something. And meanwhile, Mirwin is just pushing in bot lane, so will be a kill for GX, but not a lot of objectives getting at the back end of this TP.
Alvaro does a good job of keeping Lot busy for a while. Super able to arcane shift away. Here, Noah is a bit greedy with how he walks back to the lane. It makes sense, you expect Elioya has left the trap as well, not quite in the right position.
A Noe mora trepuje ovo. Da je trepo ovo kako treba, verovatno je mogu da preživi.
Super didn't even do anything for that.
Yeah, it is a vie into a Caitlyn, dude. When you're on top of her, she doesn't really get away.
Yeah, as he said, that is how the matchup goes.
That is exactly how the matchup goes.
And well documentedly.
Yeah.
Now the Herald is spawning. Elioya will try to pick that up as the paranoia goes out, and looks like Mirwin will be the target here.
Yeah, Mirwin no flash. We talked about how susceptible Rumble is to that paranoia. in his little yordle brain. Gets caught out. Giant X now kill off one of the key points of damage. The key lead.
Nije, Lupus je ispao. Gde si, zajec? Lupus je rip. Vidjet ćemo da li će igrati sljedeće sezone u kom rosteru, ali da, Lupus je nažalost ispao iz play-offa, to jest nije ušao u play-off, nije se kvalifikovao.
To me, Rumble is very qualified. He pilots a very complex mech, so I don't think he has a tiny brain. That's a medic standpoint on it all. As
sure.
Elyoya picks up the red buff.
I'm a doctor, not a vet, dude. I can't speak to the biology of yordles.
He made some pretty bold statements.
Coming back to the game at hand, Finn.
Yes.
Jackie's is huge. He's 4-1 on this
very
Akali.
big, yes.
1.5k gold up, almost has his Shadow Flame complete. And Giant X, they managed to mitigate some of the bits of bleeding that were happening. They found enough bandages, they've slapped them on, and they said, okay, let's get Jackie's into a position where he can truly carry this game. And they're looking for Jojo towards the top side. Who's here with him? It's Jackie's again, the bolt breaker. Held from Elyoya. Jojo unable to get there.
O, ali Varo, flash, heal, ubiće ga i dalje, neće ga ubiti. Što imaju 4 mili heroja. Apsolutni insane. Opa! Nice, brate, nice. Šta kažeš, imaš? Kapiram, zaplada. U Masteru su sad fiksirali na plus 30, minus 30, ali sve ispod Mastera... What the f... On će da umre ovdje, neće da umre. Hoće da umre. Majko, što vi rade?
Charge, they'll have their time with the tower, but Noah takes a full turret in mid.
I mean, Elyoya just takes the Herald straight to the enemy towers and you cease to exist right there. As Super now is looking up to Noah, goes very wide.
Super has no mana. He has enough for the autos, but you don't need mana for those. Jojo there for the follow-up as Super. The True Shot Barrage did not find its mark, but Jojo's there for the cleanup.
Okay, let's all take a deep breath, okay? Because I don't know what Elyoya just did with that Herald, but I want to see it again and I want to try to decipher what he was thinking.
Mislim da je Elyoya samo trebao se skuca u kulu, iskreno, da probaju da uzmu turet i to je to. Vidjet ćemo sad, ali...
And it all starts with this pick onto Jojo. Jackie, as you highlighted, medic, is so strong and powerful. And despite his flash, he just gets obliterated here. But Alvaro manages to save Elyoya with a flash heal.
Da, ovdje imaju 4 mili heroja.
The moment June Flash hooks in right now, it looks a little bit dire because now Rumble TPs in just like last time and lands a massive equalizer. The Nautilus flash to flash, force the flash out. Sign going down, and this is usually where you just drop
I sad ovo.
Herald into
Šeli u kulu, uzmeš ti jedan kulu, čoveče. Šta rad? Gle, vidi. Kuda? Zašto?
looking for Jackies. I think he relied on Alvaro to reveal him in the shroud potentially, and they can maybe find a pick. That's the only explanation I can
Jako loše.
Very wild play.
Yeah, it was greedy, dude. It was really greedy there from Elyoya. It would have been a lot of gold. Like Jackies is 6-1, you take that off the
Nije moram da ga dovati svejedno, bio fine.
He might even look for Mirwin on the top side. Has perfect execution and well, he misses a bit of it. Goes back in with the R2 and Unstoppable Onslaught coming out as they chase in. A lot will cancel it before it hits the tower. Mirwin with a flash away. He'll live to fight later on.
That's still a cheeky play by Jackies. He was one being collapsed on, and then he ends up TPing top, forcing out Mirwin's flash. So very resourceful teleport by him. Still ends up getting something at least, but will be some alone time for Jojo here in the bot side, getting a tower, getting this deep wave push in, as well as Elyoya getting all of Isma's bot side jungle, and I don't think he can respond in Elyoya's top side, so still a bit of a gold lead increase here for MKOI.
Yeah, MKOI using the fact that someone TP'd away just to push in, right? They invaded that bot side jungle, as you say. A couple of wards go down from Jun towards the MKOI top side, but MKOI have enough time to walk across and guard it well for Elyoya. He does have a small goal lead over Isma right now. Jackie's using the shuriken there just to dash back to his Twilight Shroud and gets himself even more gold. Super though.
I dalje close game. Dobar, rekao sam ti, nisi čuo. Rekao sam ti da je dobar. Sve ispod MMA, sve ispod Mastera ti je... sve ispod Mastera ti je jako dobro. U Masteru je plus 30, minus 30 fixed, a sve ispod toga ti je... Ono, što više dobijaš, što manje gubiš, što je bolje u suštini. S tim da imaju na umu, to da i očekuješ, što više budeš igrao, više će ti se MMR stabilizovati. Da znaš da ne budeš negativno iznenađen, ali što više budeš igrao, MMR će ti se smiriti u smislu klajmovo se, ne klajmovo se, krenut će ti daje balansiranu količinu u nekom trenutku. Tako da je poenta da start koristiš što jače možeš, što bolje možeš, da se isklamaš što više.
Shifts away and has to use the barrier. Mirwin there, not to body block. A true shot barrage goes through. Jun Jackie's dodges to the side of it. But the flash used from Jackie's and a barrier used from Super is the end result of that sequence.
Are we A-ramming right now?
Yes, we are.
Are we just playing A-ram at this point?
It's Mayram in May. Madrid A-ram in May. It's Mayram. Oh, man, I've made it. That's the new name.
It's Mayhem right now on the map. As all 5 players ended up going mid there, I think MKOI really wants to take this mid lane tower, and I think they realize that they can't really contest the river unless they have all the boys there ready for the Nautilus turn. Alvaro has been getting caught a lot in the early game by them, but now has stabilized the map, hasn't really died to any hooks lately. You see all those crystals, you really want to outside the tower. Yep. You really want to get the Q side that doesn't work on the tower, but we'll live to see another minute, potentially.
Right, we'll see if it does. Next Drake up in a minute 30. MKOI have set up around it. True shot barrage there to clear out the wave. Jackie's still looking for that flank position. Doesn't have a Seekers, importantly, on this Akali, so without the flash...
O, možda fight? Ne verujem, fight. Ne fight. Ne fight. Fight. Probao Alvara da shoti, nema flash. I onda Jack izgleda da li možda switcha na Supu, ali teška priča. Bro, Jackies je mnogo tužan, iskreno. Supa ga svaki put lomi u ovim fightovima. Zavisi koliko brzo stigneš do Emerald. Ako si plat 4, sve dok vinaš, dobit ću više nego što gubiš. Tako da, sve dok vinaš, uvek bukvalno do mastera ćeš biti u većem plusu nego minusu. Ali kao neizbežno je da ćeš imati i luzove, jer kako već radi LoL i onda će polako da dolazi na slično. Ili neće na isto, ali na slično će dolaziti.
Super ends up staying alive there by outplaying Jojo, and meanwhile it is Mirwin. Jackie's.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, it is Mirwin just torching all of GX all together. I think I want to see the damage charts at one point, because I think Mirwin has been torching this game.
Oh, I really think he has. Bloodletter's Curse, Leandries, and another Haunting Guys. Noah takes half his HP from a true shot barrage, and it was the Endless Hunger that you highlighted. And now the problem with the Mayram, the Giant X used to be able to match.
Akali ima TP.
Can't anymore. You've got a Baron buff, all these extra minions pushing in. MKOI cracked through that mid lane, and they're going to take the Drake.
Ali izgleda da neće da komituju svejedno, tako da nije ni bitno.
Jackie's relegated to a side lane. He's trying to get towards his next item. Congratulations to Mirwin with 1,000 assists now in the LEC. And perhaps looking to add one more tally to the W side of his win-loss column. A Paranoia and ace in the hole there as well for the follow-up. They'll look for the kill on Elioya, but he's just able to go back in. Has the Inspire, the shields, the equalizer on the back line as well. Forces Giant X away. A couple of ultimates used, but it doesn't matter too much for MKOI, because even
Verovali ili ne, G2 je stompovao KC, što je i meni veoma, veoma čudno. Desi, možete se...
I mean, Jack is just split pushing, blasting payphone in his inners right now because he knows he cannot even team fight against MKOI. They cannot fight below these towers. You know, the siege of MKOI is so powerful, and with an Akali, you can't really hold against all this range that MKOI's come past. Whether that's an equalizer, a big true shot barrage, chunks can come out of nowhere, and it is just a fantastic Baron power play in favor of MKOI as they pick up.
Da, G2 je baš lepo igrao, G2, najiskrenije.
It's about the fact they cracked the tier 3 in the bot lane.
Absolutely.
It's about the fact they took those 2 tier 2s. It opens up the map so much more for them. And when Elioya, who has, although his scoreline betrays him, been on form at finding picks, when he's in this sort of form and when Super has this much positioning on the map, he does die to Jackie's. I thought he'd survive there, but Jackie's taken down in response. The problem now for Giant X is, yes, you've traded their most fed member with yours, but the rest of your players are still a combined 5k behind.
Yes, but the intimate tension between an AD carry and dying on a mid wave is sometimes too powerful.
Yeah, it's true.
And you just gotta go for it. In the end, Super does end up dying, gives up a big shutdown to Jackie's, but in the end, now Jackie's is dead. That's 7 of your 11 kills off the map for 23 more seconds. And I wonder if MCO can try to use this Baron for anything else. No, it will just be the top lane tier 2 as they recall and start setting up the map again, because Dragon is spawning in 245 and Baron is spawning in 250. So
we expect to see, yeah, they path out, open up through mid, make sure that wave is pushed in. Then
Upravo si, 100% slažem. Koji više nije to? Mada, ja imam tik i zašto je to verovatno slučaj, a to je zbog toga što mislim da je Koji nekako izgubio svoj identitet. To je nekako moje mišljenje vezano za Koji. Jer je ekipa koja generalno, ne sam probao da vi mene ne vidite, ja sam upalio kamerom, vi ne vidite. Koji je ekipa koja je jako specifična bila u načinu kako igraju. Znaš, da mi neko kaže Fiddlestick stop, ja bi odmah rekao Koji. Čizovali su s Mirvinom, imali su nekako svoj stil igre, Elio je uvek igrao hard carry, Mirvin je uvek čizovao, ajde imali su freskovi, ali mislim da je Jojo svakako upgrade, ali nekako mislim da su vremenom izgubili identitet, to što ih je pravilo dobro. Da li je 2 soma dovoljno za ozbiljnu mašinu za dual streaming i gaming overall? Iskreno, mislim ti bolje uzmeš 2 kompa po soma evra i da ih spojiš sa Steam Deckom. Jer mislim da u streaming PC-u ti samo treba, ako zavisi preko čega streamuješ, procesor ili grafa, dobro procesor ili grafa i to je to. Možda bude relativno slab komp, a onda gaming mašinu da uzmeš malo jaču. Fora je što ti je RAM preskup i što su ti grafičke preskupe. To je fora jedino. Ali dual PC setup također, pogotovo, znaš šta je mnogo nezgodno? Gle, mnogo je nezgodno što sad sa cijenama grafičkih i RAM-a mislim da je baš teško da se u 2 soma uklupiš sa nekom baš zverinom od kompa. Zavisi gdje streamuješ, šta radiš, naravno. Jer sve je baš skupo, da, sve je baš skupo. I onda, ne znam, nija, brać, polovni kompovi možda, ako nađeš neki pouzdan, bez 4K ništa, pa da. Mislim, eventualno ako nađeš neki polovan komp. Ali od nekoga ko znaš, znaš da nije majnovo s njim ili šta god, to je fora. Jer skupo je, sve je mnogo skupo. Ako već imaš jedan komp, vjerojatno ti je bolje da uzmeš... Ako već imaš jedan komp, vjerojatno ti je bolje da uzmeš još jedan i samo da ga linkuješ i da radiš streaming gaming setup. Ako imaš prostora za 2 kompa, ali kao... Streaming PC ti je sa strane, on samo šalje i to je to. Jeste, mislim da malo su malo su pod paljbom coacha. To je fora. Igrači koja. Ali dobro, ovo bi trebalo da je njihovo svakako. Pogotovo što, kažem, igraju u Španiji, mislim. Svi su ovdje došli da gledaju koji, kao što je bilo i i KC u Francuskoj. To je fora. Znaš šta je fora, što Ryzen i RX ja nikad koristio nisam, tako da meni, veruj mi, ništa ne znači. Ja sam cijel život bio na Intelu i na NVD. Ali da, znaš, Mušice, generalno što se Patreona tiče, mislim za tebe, za generalno sve, to je legitimna priča. U slučaju stvarno da imate neke žalbe, ako vam se print brzo ispere ili šta god se dogodi, ako nešto nije sašivano kako treba, žalite se. Znači nije, ono, slobodno se žalite. Sve se to da reklamirati i uraditi ponovo i sve, tako da nemojte da vam bude glupo ako se nešto dogodi. Jer bilo je specifično u novembru, pogotovo u novembru i sa nekim stvarima u decembru prošle godine, nekih situacija, tako da kažem, znači, ono, slobodno ako nešto nije kako treba, žalite se. Mi rešimo. I mi rešimo, da. Koju grafiku koristim? 4090. Što mi je uzeo ja pre 2 ili 3 godine, tako nešto. Ne može, mušice, Kevin je... Igrao je neke karte, neki Riftbon je igrao, pa je malo poludeo Kevin, nemoj mu zameriti. Nema zamerki, vrči najjači ikada, please, malo vode u podromu. I dobar Victor damage. Ko damage, čovječ. Ali no, naučio da je trepao. Jeste, ali sad nije bitno. Na, ovaj game. Ovaj game. Ja sam uzmano, možda Jackie si jaki, ali iskreno baš teška priča, Dobro, Game 1 za koji danas ima potencijal da dan bude relativno brz. Ekipa koja je uradila ozbiljan posao. Dok se znali predobri. Mislim, ja sam pričao bukvalno od svog mrča koje smo radili, lično mi je Dux pomiljen. To što je debeo i onako mekan Dux. Doduše ima isto nekih novih stvari koje mi se mnogo sviđaju, koje bi trebali da dođu polako. Igro je dobro, Jackies. Ali džabe, ništa, GG's. Imamo pauzicu od nekih 10 minuta otprilike. I onda se polako vraćamo nazad, tako da BRB sam ja za nekih 7-8 minuta. Tako da slušamo intervju, idemo na pauzu pa se vraćamo u sljedećem gameu.
We're used to starting behind. I think at this point it's just our comfort zone. Every game we start behind and we always come back. So yeah, it's just, I think the usual, you know, we want to give intensity to the game, a bit of a heart attack to our fans, and then we always take the win.
Yeah, they had a little bit of a heart attack, but they're all behind you. So can you give them some hope for game 2?
Gonna be a heart attack again, you know, I'm not giving hope. It's just, this one was the easy one, was not that bad. We've been in wars 13k behind, so like this was just not a heart attack, now it's coming.
Okay, nice, you go ahead. Another heart attack then.
I see. Smart from Elyoya here. It's not actually that they're struggling in the early game. It's all part of an elaborate plan from MK. They just want to give content to their fans.
Didn't know they had a
good job.
Didn't know they had a new sponsor coming in health insurance. Yeah. All right, fair.
But let's be real, Elyoya.
Yes.
We got to talk about these early games, my man. Like, we talked about it during the pause. Isma is a player that likes to attack you early.
Yeah.
And they weren't prepared. I mean, technically they were. Yeah. Technically they did ward for it. They just didn't factor in a knockdown flashing over a Dragon Pit wall in order to then steal your entire bot side. Which, you know what, Elyoya, fair enough. I'll forgive you for that one. But I will say that I think we already heard the casters talking about it. The Nautilus allowing it to get through was such a problem for Alvaro. Just in his ability to contest the river, get vision, even walk up to objectives. That big fight that happened in bot lane was because he just tried to ward into the Dragon Pit and then Jun hook, line, and sinker.
And it's the reason we see the Nautilus is the most banned in LEC at the moment. Like, it is the pick that does so well into these enchanters, and when it's left open, we get to see in a bunch of these early plays that then they're able to take over. But I think it was MKOI's resilience later on that really played a big factor, because even though with this Nautilus, Giant X were able to start off a bunch of these plays, it was actually MKOI MKOI, who then were using the Ezreal and the Karma with the push on mid lane to then access a bunch of these later fights and then extend the fight past it and then set up for a bunch more of these fights. And you can see it on your screens now. The Ezreal and the Karma were consistently able to keep pressure on this mid lane. So even though you're having Giant X fight first in this top side so regularly, it was MKOI responding.
I mean, Vetti's about to have another Nocturne rant, I'm not going to lie, because the thing about this champ is when you use it to attack side lanes, you're seeing on your screens how effective it can be. But once you've committed those resources, you don't have any left. And this is what I think the problem was for me when it came to GX's approach. When they attacked as this like 3 versus 2 style play, how often did it work? So often, right? They were able to find these picks, but in the extended fight, in the long drawn out skirmishes, that's where KOI was coming back. And I think the problem for GX was that in terms of their map play, KOI was just ready to fight them at every opportunity.
Yeah, and again, I think the fact that you have the Karma that can speed you up to follow on these fights, you've got that point-and-click CC that can come through from Ilyoya, even if he's not very good at driving the Rift Herald. I think that's where you can really find your focus, and I think that's where, for MKOI, they did find that success after.
He lost his license a couple times, but I feel like the rest of MKOI came together, and you guys said it, with the way GX's composition was working, it was kind of hard for them to make the best of those fights, with Nocturne going in the back line, Jackie's following up as well. They were super split, and this is where MKOI was good in rallying around them and getting the better of those fights.
Yeah, earlier you asked what separates GX from the top 4 teams, and truthfully, I think it's their team fighting. I think that the way in which they approach fights just leaves them open to vulnerabilities, and when we get into this fight, I want to show exactly how that happened, because the thing you'll notice is that they've got a comp where half of it wants to dive, and the Caitlyn wants to play back. Multiple times we saw Noah left to the Wolves. And look at how deep GX commits onto the Karma of all people. Meanwhile on the backline, Mirwin with a beautiful ultimate onto 3 members. You've got a 2 versus 3 on the backside for MKOI, which they're winning, while on the other side they're winning on that skirmish when they've committed all those resources to trying to kill a Karma. And I think the problem for GX is that when they come into a fight, they don't think, what is our goal? What is our win condition? How do we approach this? Instead, it's almost like they're just trying to find any opportunity they can, whereas it does feel like in the 5v5, KOI rallies together, they react quickly, and they outperform just as they did today.
And I also want to give a shout out to both Mirwin and Supa in that fight as well, because they are 2 members that we've kind of been looking at saying, look, we haven't seen them really performing, but Supa really stepped up in that fight with flashing over the wall before Jun can actually get the Nautilus ultimate onto him. Meant that then he was able to reposition the fight and play aggressive as soon as he was free, and also then Mirwin, as you said, with that great ultimate. But consistently over the course of this game, I think those 2 were the ones that I was keeping my eye on. We saw some great montage plays in the mid lane from Supa, but it was Mirwin for me that was night and day, steps ahead of where he had been before. The TPs were excellent, his team fighting was brilliant, he looked confident on the rumble.
Yeah, I think it was his early TP into that bot Dragon fight that ultimately allowed them to swing the gold back in their favor. And I think that, as you rightly said, he's a player that we're keeping our eyes on. He was given the rumble. You need to have those carry performances, and he did just that.
Yeah, shutting up the haters, 1 at a time and 1 game at a time. And Alvaro breaking the Karma lose streak here. 8 game, no more. Nobody beats Karma 9 times in a row. So Faith restarting the champion, question mark?
No, I mean, it was a bit of a fraudulent win for sure. Yeah. But we also got this replay just to reinforce how good Mirwin was in this game, just because his flank ends up isolating Noah.
Yeah.
And I think that this was one of the difficulties that Noah had with this draft, is that there's really not a lot of peel for him. A lot of the champions want to go forward, and Caitlyn isn't the best at self-survival. She does need that bit of protection. It's why you often see her in these longer range comps. And so credits to KOI for finding those windows, finding those punishes, and ultimately having a strong game 1.
So moving into the second game here, KOI, polish your early gameplay. Maybe that's what we want. And on the side of GX, I know it was the whole goal for them to play fearless, to go for these engages. Maybe taking a step back here is what I want to see from them, or at least know where they should go in together collectively.
Yeah, I mean, but that is the problem with Giant X, right? And even like the interview that you were referencing earlier, saying that they wanted to play more aggressive. They were saying, look, sometimes we're going to mess it up. And sometimes that's going to happen, right? And I do think there is a little bit of limit testing that has to go on with that kind of style to try and figure it out. I do think it's more of a, hey, when we get towards team fights, as Vedi was saying earlier, like, get your words in, try and figure out where the enemy team is. Like, it feels like it's a little bit gung-ho where you all just jump in at once and hope for the best and no real headspace to try and figure it out. And then on MKOI's side, I think it's try and play more around Jojo. Like, we didn't really get to see much from Jojo in this game. Like, I think he was a bit quiet.
Very check.
Okay, he's still my go, all right? He's still 30 minutes in, he was 1k gold down, he was still 2 levels up, and he had 320 CS. I mean, that guy, put him behind, but this game wasn't about him. So I don't focus on Jojo. He'll have his time in the sunshine. For me, like, have you guys ever seen Haikyuu?
Yeah, actually.
Okay, the protagonist learned a valuable lesson at some point in the series where when you chuck the volleyball high into the air, it gives everyone room to breathe.
Yes.
And I feel like GX just need that moment. They need to throw the volleyball in the air and have that breathing moment to calm down and take a step back, because sometimes they're a little too tunneled on what happens in the moment, and I think that leads them astray. I think they've got the talent to go toe-to-toe with Koi. I think they've got the potential. I think they can bring us to a third game, but they're only going to do that if they slow the game down and play towards their win conditions.
Strong and wise words. Listen to Vedi. Sometimes it works. Let's see if GX can make it happen in Game 2 so far. MKOI leads the series. We'll come back right after this.
Let's go. Wait, he's low. He messes up by there. Nice. Can you block the kills? They're going on me now, banana. Okay, banana. Coming. We can play this. I like this. Now delay the flash. Akali? Killing is net, okay? Look Akali, guys. Vamos, David! Army. No. She's there. Good job. Doctor Logie, okay? Yeah, wait.
What's wrong with me today? I think you should have a break.
Have a break. Have a Kit Kat.
Baby, cause I'm the crushing.
Red Bull gives you wings.
In your best man speech, you said my wife is funnier than me.
That's factually correct.
Okay.
We're in range.
Nah, it's fine, man. It's fine. Relax. I've got this. I have years and years and years of experience.
Yeah, but it's gonna.
There we go. Look at that. What are you so worried about?
Oh,
mean, I'm gonna be playing in front of our home crowd. Also, my mother and my brother is coming, so it's always like a boost of happiness because I am getting to play and I'm also looking at them, or I see them before the play, like before I'm playing. And I think it's just also like really pretty to show to the fans because, of course, here in Berlin, we have the stage and it's where we are playing every single day. But I think when we get to do these road shows and we get to do these events, it's just you also connect way more with the people. And also they connect with us more. So I think it's just a really good opportunity, and also in my case I usually step up on the moments that there is pressure.
Hello and welcome back to Madrid, where we're here for what could be the final game of the day. It's been a quick one. G2 dismantled KC and now MKOI messily, cleaned up the floor with Giant X. I'm not going to pretend it was a clean game.
There was some odd sweeps here and there, but in the end, the floor is now squeaky clean after the happenings in the game.
happenings. There were some happenings in that game, Finn. This is what we bring the ex-pro players in to give us,
The linguistical terms here as we see Super walk out. I mean, I want to say that the result was expected, but the journey there was maybe not quite as clean as maybe MKOI would have hoped. I think they came in today with the expectation that they wanted to show a statement against GX, and statement wasn't super well received by the fans. I mean, the fans loved it, but in general, I don't think the gameplay quality was quite there. There was a lot of messy plays happening all over the place.
Yeah, a bit of a disparity between that and the first series, I would say. Although there were some messy plays in the first series as well, not to blow G2 and KC's trumpet too hard. As we'll see if Giant X can bounce back. It is a hard weekend for them. Tomorrow they play G2 and then KC, and currently they're very much looking like the team that will end up at 4 and 5, really, at the end of this weekend, sitting in that 6th spot.
I mean, it is a difficult road ahead for them, and I think even if they lose today, it doesn't mean the weekend is ruined. I still think, as very highlighted on the desk, I think there's a lot of individual talent on this GX roster, and we've seen a lot of really fantastic plays by them, but it's all about just those 15 to 25 minutes. It seems like every game just kind of runs away from them, and they really need to find more discipline in those areas, and as he says, throw the volleyball high and take a deep breath.
Yeah. Speaking of discipline, Vedi has pitched me. If this series ends after this game, we're going to go back to the card shop that we bought cards from this morning. So I'm kind of in MKOI's camp. I'm going to be honest. Like, Unleashed is out, the new Riftbound set, incredible set, lots of cool legends in it. I need my overnumbered Baron. I need it, man. It's calling to me.
I'm just sad there's no Kled deck yet. I'm waiting
there
for
will
it.
Be a Kled
I have theory crafted how they would design the Kled card. I think there's a lot of really cool interactions they could do.
Like, it's kind of ganking ambush, really, isn't it?
No, I'm thinking more assaults. Where he has pretty low base stats, with assault he's quite high, and if he dies, he goes back to base.
He recalls, but then you have to find a way to like re-give him a buff.
Exactly, and if he conquers, he then gets a lot of stats back. He gets like a +3.
Interesting.
That's my ideas. At least here we are going into draft.
Yes, back to League of Legends, guys.
And GX has chosen second pick, which is a little bit unconventional. Usually you see the team that loses choose first pick to kind of dictate the draft, but they might have something in mind for their 1-2 rotation or potentially their last pick here. As we see Orianna being banned, Hanfin being banned, nothing really new. Seraphine Shinsha being taken out.
Early, I'd say it's not new. It's one of Isma's favorite picks, but a couple of enchanters coming out from MKOI. They don't tend to want to play enchanters, right? So in terms of those picks, we have Lulu and Milio left. Giant X are likely to go for engage for Jun, and Nico really is beginning to look very strong in this current draft situation. We'll see where Giant X go with their final ban.
A lot of targeting in the jungle now, with Pantheon being out, Shinsha being out, as well as Nocturne, Vi being out, does increase Jarvan prio a ton.
I ljudi moji, evo nas nazad, još jedan draft, potencijalno finalni draft danas, sve je moguće, a mi ulazimo u avanturu koja i Giantsa Gamer 2 koji je već dobio prvi. Da odgovorimo na pitanje od Pavla, neko je hakovan. I onda kad budeš hakovan, rip. Kanal, ali sve to može se vratiti, samo treba malo vremena.
Coming out for Giant X, obviously thinks they're very comfortable on things we've seen them on before, but it's been a while since we've seen them play this.
Is there going to be a
Kalista Renata? does seem to be that's where they're going.
Well, I do like that. I think MCO played it last week as well in their game 3.
Yeah,
I think
they didn't win that game though.
Yeah. Oh, they didn't win?
No, they lost.
Okay, well then I'm not as excited. I just thought it's a great balance between you want to play Enchanters because the meta is Enchanters, but you also want a little bit of engage in your support, and I think that kind of threads the needle really well by putting Alvaro on the Renata together with Kalista. Fits all of that, but it is a very volatile botlane matchup. You really need to make it work early game. We'll see if he goes for the static shiv, which has been popping up a bit more and more on the Kalista to spread those Ren stacks, or if it's going to be a
Desima rence, poz.
as the Skarner now
Renata Kalista.
It's quite tricky to play into the Kalista, I think, because she just kind of jumps around like a mosquito, but you're quite tanky, so...
Što najče mislim da Renata Kalista možda i mogu da igraju Luciana. Da li Fnatic osvajao Cut Worlds jer imaju skinove? Jeste. Fnatic je osvojio prvo svetsko prvenstvo ikada. Hejteri će reći da tad nisu igrali Kina Koreja. Jesu, ali nisu znali šta je LoL. Tad je polufinale bilo 3 ekipe iz Evrope i jedno iz Amerike, ako se ne varam. Mislim da je CLG bio u drugom polufinalu. Finale svetskog je bilo Fnatic protiv AAA-a. AAA. Francuska ekipa jedna. I Fnatic sa druge strane, tako da. To je pre 17 godina, mislim, prvi Worlds ikada.
Usually those would be the main two blinds right now. There is also the Ambessa that has been quite prevalent as a blind pick, but seeing as Sign is out and Rumble is out, it does kind of hinder that top lane blind pick pool just a little bit.
Is there ever an argument to leave mid lane counter for last? I feel like mid lane counter just doesn't get you as much as top lane counter.
I mean, to me, the argument to do that is if a lot of counters being banned out, like right now we have 2 Gnar counters already being out. You could just take the Gnar pick here for GX, secure lot on that Gnar, and just be really happy because there's no Jace, there's no Vayne to kind of counterpick you. Also, Aurora is out. And you're not really doing it for the mid lane counterpick, but you're doing it because that is just the best top lane matchup you can secure for yourself.
That makes sense, that makes sense. We'll see where
Renekton blind, okej. Ako blindaš top, Renekton je okej. I sad Mirvin mora da nađe neki cheese, znajući njega igru bi Varusa, ali je banovan Vayne u Renektona, mislim da neće htjeti da igra za Hen top. I treba ti neki mid koji scale-o, inače ćeš biti hard out scale-ovan i neki mid koji scale-a i radi sustain damage. O, me ne bi, ne, u stvari ne mogu da igraju to. Zoe je okej, ali onda ne možeš da igra. Zoe je fine.
Ooh, Shen. Something we haven't seen too often.
This matchup is quite tough in the 1v1. But obviously with a bot lane that wants to play this aggressive, I think the Shen makes a little bit more sense. I mean, the 1v1 is difficult for Shen, let's be completely honest here, but especially after 6, Renekton just has a Dominus ticking damage in AoE. It becomes quite hard to take extended fights for the Shen, but this was an answer that came up around 2020, where Renekton was just unbeatable, and people just picked Shen with like a Hecarim or a Kali, and just decided to win the map elsewhere. As Jojipin has blind picked Anivia.
Okay, so
very bold.
Yeah, I mean, it's trying to say, well, we know you kind of like Rise, you can't pick Rise, right?
Pa u suštini, mislim, nije Fnatic, mislim, tad LoL nije bio toliko razvijen, znaš. I ti nisi imao toliko jake ekipe koje su igrale, nisi imao organizacije, nisi imao ništa, znaš. To je baš bilo ono početak League of Legends, ali opet, mislim, svaki šampion svetskog ima svoje skinove, dobio je dobio je Fnatic, tako da mislim da je okej, iskreno.
I don't think he really does anymore,
no,
especially when he has Emilio behind him.
Yeah. I think the crucial point for this game is you need your Kalista to be ahead. If this Kalista goes even, MCO is going to struggle heavily in the team fights. So we need to see them use their pressure into bot lane. We need to see Shen being set up so he can ult bot. Even if the first gank goes top, that is just to set up the Shen to be able to have a lot of push and a lot of freedom to ult bot whenever he wants to. So to me, that is the most important part for MCO, and obviously for GX. They have Skarner with 3 very strong lanes. Just allowing Isma to be creative. Game 1, he flashed over to Dragon Pit level 1 to invade the red buff. Not sure we'll see that again, but I want to see what he can do with these lanes, because Renekton should have pushed top. bot lane is quite contested, but I do think Azir early game pushes a bit faster than Nivea, so he has a lot of lanes to play around at least.
And let's make our way onto Summoner's Rift. We've also seen a static shift Kalista. We saw it last week with the Ginsus. Applies those Ren stacks to every target the static shift hits. Expect to see Super going that way once again. And Super had a really good game one. You know, on the Ezreal went 5-1, was positioning well. Did get caught out on the mid wave once by Jackies, but
you gotta give him one.
Yeah, you know, he levels up a little bit. Mirwin, Super, and Alvaro all with 200 games now in the LEC. Have played together for all of those games. Congratulations to them and to MKOI. Although MKOI have had a disappointing spring split, you have to remember these guys are champs, right? They've tasted the title last year in spring.
Jesam, Arence, hvala na pitanju. Juče, čekaj da palim samo i kameru. Kad ugase ove rune, ali da, juče mi baš nije bilo veče za stream. Ali naspavao sam se, danas sam se baš našetao, išao sam sa Klarom da pokupimo poklon za jednog drugara i onda smo se malo našetali, išli do, on je više do Kališa, skoro peške i nazad. Tako da, ozbiljna šetnica, našli neke cool stvari isto. Kao što su urme prelivene pistaćem ili nešto, nemam pojma, što je u stvari jako lepo. Kao, mislim, šta da ne bude lepo. Tako da malo smo se našetali. A dobro, jesmo malo po to, a bože moj, šta sad. Tako da danas je bolje. Naspavao sam se što je dosta bitno jer večeras hoću igram solo, hoću igram Valoranta večeras, tako da i jedno i drugo. Ne znam ste čuli za Windows šta je bilo da je Windows uništavao hard drive, tako da nadam se, nisam proverio svoj hard još, ali verovatno mi je dosta čipovan hard. Da, baš bukvalno nismo išli mislim da ga Azir nema. Nešto prođeš kroz gradi kao je vidio ovo i na kraju Jojo je znao šta se događa. I na kraju malo po malo svega kupiš i haos. Sprdo se nešto s Klarom, bili smo u knjižari, vidio neki šah. Ja rekao Klaro, ovo hoću zaraditi. A šah je neki Harry Potter limited edition šah. Baš lepo izgleda. A nije pisala cena. I kad sam došao kući, kad sam vidio koga, rekao sam, Klaro, ovo neću za rođendan. A fason šah? Ću pokažem, stani. Moram ti pokažem. Košta fazon, mislim da je 60.000, ali tako nešto, 56.000. Znači, vidi. Kaj je rekao, nema veze. Ne volim baš toliko šah. Samo mnogo smiješno bilo. Pošli ti na Discord da vidiš. To ti je fora, kad odeš tako u knjižare, ima mnogo cool stvari. Kao legitimno ima mnogo zanimljivih stvari. Mislim, preskupe su, i imaš da ih kupiš na drugim mestima jeftinije, ali tu ti kao sve na jednom mestu. I onda bude jako cool. A iskreno je baš cool, samo što je, brate, baš je preskup iskreno. Ali su figurice jako lepe. Da, to ti kažem, samo je baš preskupo. Da, 56k, to ti kažem, nerealno, brate, nerealno. Jojo je... Bro, Jojo mu je tata. Jojo mu je bukvalno tata. Jojo mu je bukvalno tata. Jojo mu je bukvalno tata, šta mu radi. Znači, strašno. Strašno. Ne. Jojo je stavio Jackiza na povodac i šeta ga po ovom gameu. Znači, ne znam kako mu nije glupo, najiskrenije. Strašno. Legitimno strašno šta mu radi. Ja mislim što znači da je ovo gotov game. On je Jackiz možda i nije, ne znam. Igra Azir bi čak i trebao da je okio Aniviju, zašto je jedan od malo mageeva koji stvari možda mu ubije Ekform, ali... Ne znam. Nemam pojma.
Super won't go any further. So Isma did a nice play there. He walked into the bush and started channeling his...
Može. Dogovoreno, Marenci, neće biti 1.30. Ne, ali to sam pričao baš sa Horijem. Ja se nadam da slušaš, lakše mi je nego da kucam, pošto je mnogo dugačka tematika, ali baš sam pričao i s Horijem. Mislim, mi smo ušli da pucamo sinoć. Ali fora je što mi, ako hoćemo da se klajmamo iznad platinuma, kao stak, u najgorem slučaju nam trebaju 3 igrača koja znaju da igraju svoj rol. Jer dosta ljudi... Šta je ovo? Dobro. Dosta ljudi uzme, mislim, i ja ponekad, trudim se da to ne radim, ali dosta ljudi samo uzme agenta i samo puca. Znaš, znači, jako ne igramo Valorant. Mislim, realno pričam, znaš, nije ono ništa, samo legitimna priča. Jer kao igrao sam i sa kompanijom ranije kad sam se klajmovao do Ascendanta i sve isto sam klajmovali u 5 stacku, ali mi jako malo Valoranta igramo. U smislu da kažem, nama treba najgori slučaj 3 čoveka, a realno nam treba 5 ljudi. Jer konstantno dajem čist primer, inicijator duelist uvek moraju komuniciraju kako se otvara sajt. Sentinel na defu verovatno treba da bude jedini koji ikad flankuje. Ne znam, ja recimo to radim, nekada ne bi smeo, ja kad igram Siege, nikad ne sam da idem prvi da pikam i nikad ne sam da idem sam, bilo gde ako imam ult. Kao ok, ako iko rundu radim što, ali kao ako imam ult, igram Siege, ja moram budem iza moje ekipe, jer igram supporta. Ako Jojo opet za malo. Sad će da izvuku egg. Da, tako da mi baš kao ne igramo valo. Igrao sam i Counter, bio sam Supreme u Counteru, bio sam Ascendant u Valorantu, tako da bio sam relativno high u obe igre. S tim da sad malo više igramo Valorant for fun, ali kažem kao ako želimo se klajmamo iznad platinuma u full stacku, onda moramo da ne ulazimo da pucamo, nego moramo da uđemo da igramo Valorant. Što kažem, zahteva da bukvalno svako radi svoj posao na svom rolu i da nema random playeva. Kogod uzme duelista, mora nam otvara sajtove. Kogod uzme inicijatora, mora da igra s duelistom da otvara. Kogod igra smoke, mora komunicirati da je smoke. Kogod igra anchor, obično bude Sentinel, mora da anchoruje, mora da postavlja util. Moramo da imamo info kao tim na koji sajt idemo da ovi što anchoruje zna da postavi util s druge strane mape da mu je sflankuju. Znaš, ima tu milion stvari koje trebaju da se radi, mi to ne radimo. Mi smo u fazonu, ajmo probamo na B. To je pik naše kola ako se to dogodi. I onda, mislim, znaš, kao naravno, kad dođe neko malo složeniji, samo će nas ubiti. Tako je, Marence, da. I kažem ti, mislim, pored toga što ne koristimo utility i kad ga koristimo ga random. Znaš, to je isto dosta velika fora. Što kažem, gle, i to mi je okej, uđemo, pucamo, sprdamo se, nema veze. Ali Moja jet lurka, to ti kažem, znaš, mislim, i Valorant je baš zato jako specifičan u odnosu na Counter. Gdje ti u odnosu na kog agenta igraš, ti moraš da igraš igricu na drugačiji način i to je to. Dobro, mi, mislim, kažem, mi slabo i shot callamo kad napadamo i zato ne napadamo toliko dobro, to je još jedan problem. Ali... generalno baš ne igramo Valorant. Mislim, i što je okej, pazi, dosta ljudi nisu ni igrali u Diamondu, Ascendantu iznad, da i znaju kako to treba da izgleda kao cijela slika. Ali da, kažem, ako hoćemo iznad plata u full stacku ili da imaš 2-3 cracked čoveka, ono, razumeš, ne znam, si gledao Marence kad sam igrao sa kanterašima. Evo na. Vučić ako igra s nama, brate, on će imati 35 kilova svaki game, samo zašto puca nenormalno. I on sam može da izvuče do Ascendanta bilo koga, ali nije poenta. Jackies je mrtav, Jojo je živ. Jojo mu živi u glavi. Lepo od koja iskreno. Jojo ih samo stompa ovaj game. Jackies je malo pretltovan, tako da ima i toga. Gisma single target ulti na Jarvana također baš i nije optimalna opcija. Ali da, recimo Marence, ne znam, ja se trudim kad igram inicijatora, recimo, onda se trudim da baš komuniciram s Horijem, ja nisam inicijator igrač, ali kao trudim se da komuniciram s Horijem koje uglove mu ja otvaram, koje uglove mu kliram. I mislim da recimo kad igramo, mislim da Horiju baš odgovara zbog toga da ja igram inicijatora. Jer onda kada tekujemo, ja sam inicijator, Horiju je 5 puta lakše da igra igricu. Jer ja mu govorim šta mu stanam, šta mu flasham, šta bričam i onda automatski zna koji ugao ne mora da gleda ili koji ugao mu je coverovan, znaš. Jeste, naravno, mislim, kažem. Ali mi imamo tih problema da, kažem, svako igra reaktivno i random i onda ono, dogodi se da duelist uleti na sajt i svi ostali čekaju iza smoka, jel, kao ne uleću sa duelistom. Jer duelist uđe, umre, mi smo izgubili rundu. Što da uletimo, on rikne tradamo, nema veze, ali... Kao to nam je generalno problem zašto sad malo stagniramo oko platinuma. Inače, mislim da Diamond isto nije ništa spec. Ljudi ništa bolje nisu u Diamondu, veruj mi. Mislim da je kada dođemo do Ascendanta, tu će nam biti problem što svi moramo da imamo uvek dobro. Znači tu ako jedna osoba na Ascendantu u 5 stacku, ako jedna osoba ima ono da lošije aima, nećemo dobiti nikad. Jer tu realno većina ljudi protiv koga god igraš će te ubiti relativno brzo, ako ne možeš ti da gubiš jednako brzo, samo gubiš svaki duel. Tako da tu će opet aim postati problem. Ali trenutno nam je najveći problem što ne igramo Valorant. A bez toga, ono, kogod da nam je jedan igrač dobar, neće nam biti dovoljno da se konstantno klajmamo. Meni je svejedno, ne moram ja inicijatora da igram, samo ću ti kažem da ono, Horiju je lakše, jer kao ima info od mene konstantno. Igramo dobro zajedno. Meni je svejedno šta god igram. I također još jedna stvar što mislim da bi morali da vidimo, svi igraju double duelista. Moramo da vidimo šta ćemo s tim da radimo. Jer to je još jedan od razloga zašto nam je attack toliko loš. Ili da igramo nekog Sentinela koji je bolji u napadu, tipa Chambera ili tako nešto, ali to je opet pitanje. Double Sentinel je baš nezgodan za igrati. Što većina ljudi uzmu duelista 2 komada i onda je mnogo lakše kad jedan padne dalje možda igraš. Veljko, zašto sam ja izintovao život i oni su izintovali život. Jer su odlučili da pomere start vreme, sat vremena nazad. Šta rade oni u Kalistu, ljudi? Valo je dosta lakše od kantera, mnogo lakše paniša greška nego u Valorantu. Zavisi kako gledaš. Zavisi kako gledaš, Vorp. Zavisi kako gledaš.
Have another look at this play around the red buff. Mirwin with the taunt flash double catch.
Lepo je Mirwin odigrao. Baš je lepo odigrao Mirwin. A Supa živi život, ima Renatu, možda igra agro kako god hoće. Hiljaditi kill, koliko tu on igra? Koliko je Counter bolji od Valoranta? Pa to je subjektivno, vrati. Mislim da... To ti je ono, ko da kažeš, ne znam, Dota je bolja od Lola. Plava boja je bolja od zelene boje. To je bukvalno taj nivo. Kao... Sve je to, sve je to jako subjektivno, znaš. Osim ako nije... Ono, ne znam, full identična igrica, kažeš tupam, Counter na Faceitu je bolji nego Counter kad igraš matchmaking. Zašto? Zašto ima bolji tik servera. Ok, to je fair. Znaš, Counter i Valorant je, vrate, tako je. Ukusima se naspravljaju, apsolutno. Jer nije merivo. Oni su ubili Aniviju svejedno, fajn su. Dobre. Da, doduše bagove, mislim, nijedna ni druga igra nema nešto pretredno bagova, iskreno. Dobar, Jackis! What? A, on je ulto nazad kroz divide, to je bilo lepo u stvari. Iako su uspjeli na neku foru da bace ceo fight, ako ćemo iskreno, ali dobro, to je već skroz okej. To je već skroz okej. Meni ok, drugi Sentinel bude mjesto, nešto tako možeš si igra na teko zbog flasha. Mislim da se sa flashom... Pa dobro, da, vidi, zavisi. Ako nam je Sova inicijator, onda možemo da igramo možda sa Sovom pa sa double Sentinelom. Mimo toga, mislim da ako igramo hard Sentinela, tipa kao što je Killjoy ili nešto slično, jer recimo, znaš kad mi igramo Killjoy ili Chambera, samo odlučimo da ne idemo na taj sajt. Treba nam Sentinel koji može sam drži jedan sajt i onda smo full fine na defu. A u napadu smo duplo jači. To je fora. Jer mi sa Sage i sa ovim... Sa Sage i sa Cypherom ništa ne radim. Bukvalno. Kao... Niti oni nešto zatvaraju sajt pretjerano dobro. Niti bukvalno ništa. Malo je zanimljivo da gledam, a da ne mogu niko način kako se igra. Dok je Counter lagao razumjeti. To je istina, da. Valorant je puno, mislim, teži za početnika jer ti u Valorantu moraš znati svakog agenta, sve njegove spelove i način na koji se on igra. A Counter je kao, aha, smoke grenade smoka, flash grenade flasha, molotov baca vatru, kao, jako je jednostavno. Ima Counter, naravno, ima nekih fora i fazona, ali kao generalno jako jednostavna igra. Za nekog kako prvi put upali igricu, znaš, u Valorant se zbuniš. Oni će izgubiti ovu seriju, što je najjače od svega. Da. Oni se formen biju dole, a Shen nema ni TP ni ulti, bravo. Jedna razlika učini Valorant boljima Countera i Anticheat. Gle, Valorant, znaš šta, to ti sad opet kažem, diskusija. Valorant i Faceit isto. U tom smislu. Jer ti na Faceitu nemaš toliko cheatera i tik servera ti je isti. To je fora. Tako da Counter na Faceitu nemaš toliko cheatera i generalno ti je tik servera isti kao i u Valorantu. Tako da mislim da što se tiče Valoranta i Countera je bukvalno samo stvar ukusa. Dvije drugačije igrice su. Tako da više ono u fazonu kome šta više prija, ko šta više voli. Šta radi ko je baca game? Mora malo. Oni se ljudi koji čitaju. Iskreno mislim da ljudi čituju jer su... Ima sigurno dosta razloga. Možda neki boostaju akauntove, možda neki čitaju samo da iznerviraju druge ljude. Znaš, rade kao ono... Trolovi su hoće neku reakciju, onda samo čituju da eto, izboostaju nekog, da iznerviraju nekog i tako. Mislim da niko ne čituje da bi došao do nekog high ranka i onda kao više ne čituje na high ranku, mislim. Jer prvi game kad se neki silver izbusta u kad se neko izbusta ono do ne znam, global elita i onda će tamo da igra, a silver je. Nema šanse. Neće zabaviti. Tako je, Marence, da, ali mislim, mi opet kažem, mi nemamo ni taj trenutak. Zato ti kažem, jako slabo igramo Valorant. Mi više igramo Counter nego Valorant. Uvek to treba da bude ono, ta situacija gdje kao trebamo se potrudimo da više igramo Valorant. I kad lokamo nije kao, šta nam treba, treba nam, ne znam, Sentinel, ja ću igram tog Sentinela onako. Znaš, treba nam duelist, igraću, dobra, ajde, duelist je već, zavisi od mape do mape, ali... Znaš kao, trebamo da imamo ideju šta pikamo zajedno. Slažem se, Veljko, 300%, mislim, čitovanje je samo... Pa i u LoLu su ljudi čitovali, a bilo je očigledno. Tako da, bilo bi cool za start. Dve stvari, jedna je da pričamo u draftu. Što kažem, ja sam kriv da se razumemo, nema poročno znati, že ja sam prvi ja sam njutam pola draftova. Pikam ono što fali, obeč uzem Sage jer kao... Treba nam heal, ne treba nam heal, Nix može da heala. Tako da... U draftu da komuniciramo i da svako koji god rol da pika, u stvari radi posao tog rola. Znači, kogod je inicijator, da igra za info, da sa duelistom otvara gdje otvara, kogod je smoke, da igra mesto na mapi gdje treba da igra, da komunicira šta smoke-a, da kao zajedno probamo da dijelimo više informacija. I da prestanemo da govorimo kod mene su. Jer ja dok pricam tab i dok vidim gdje je taj koji je rekao kod mene su, ubili su me 3 put. To je jako loš koliko i svi zajedno dijelimo, to mi je uvijek smešno. Kad god čujem kod mene su, ja pritiskam tab, otvaram, gledam mapu, gledam ko je to rekao, gledam gdje je na mapi, 6 puta me ubiše dok ja provalim gdje su, bre. Ali dobro, mislim, pričamo, igrat ćemo. Improvat ćemo, to je bitno. Bitno da znamo na čemu možemo da radimo. Za razliku od koja koji od 6000 golda nekako gube ovaj game i meni i dalje nije jasno kako. Jojo ismi baš malo damage-a, mislim malo damage-a, ako mu stoji ultu pola sata radit će više, ali... Dobar flash od Jojo, mislim će umre svejedno ovdje od Azira, neće. Dobar Shen ult. On je živ, wow. 2 za 1, not bad. Tako je, Veljko, tako je. Apsolutno. To je isto fora. Da li sam gledao koji vita... nisam. Jedino što sam gledao od DVC-a su ove RL ekipe protiv LEC ekipa, jer me to najviše interesovalo, iskreno. To je fora. Dobro. Zaustavili su Barona, ovo je fajn. On će da umre, ali... Što god. Fajn je ovo i dalje. Zaustaviše Barona, nije užasno. Ja mislim, Order, da jučerašnji IBL nigde nije ostao sačuvan. Ispričat ćemo mi to što se dogodilo u stvari. Pošto je Fortuna firma, Fortuna je firma, očigledno, dosta ljudi, količina ljudi, imaju pristup Fortuninom YouTube-u. Jedna od tih ljudi je hakovana i onda je kanal preko toga uzet. To se vrati, nije to problem, ali problem je što dok se ne vrati, Fortunito kanal ne postoji. Tako da, Da. YouTube otišao ka boom i mislim da su vodovi na Twitchu po defaultu bili isključeni, tako da jučerašnji EBL mislim da ne može se pogleda opet, osim na Sport klubu i sportu ako niste iz Srbije, pošto je Sport klub očigledno blokiran u Srbiji zbog znate svi čega, tako da ne ulazimo sad u to. Ovo bi sad trebao da bude njihov. Lot je ušao 5 ljudi, ali nije ni bitno iskreno. Lot bi samo morao def, ovaj game, ovaj kraj. Mislim, iskreno da bude, mogli su samo da pobede bez ovoliko bacanja, ali ajde. Jeste. Unlucky je zašto mislim da kažem, pošto Fortuni nikad nisu trebali vodovi na Twitchu, onda se niko nije bavio s tim da... Nikad niko iz Fortune nije znao da trebamo da sačuvamo vod, jer nam nikad vod nije trebao i uvek bio na YouTube-u. A to se dogodilo, slagaću te, pola sata pred EBL. I onda niko nije, razumeš, niko nije bio spreman na to. Bilo je u fazonu, daj hakovali su kanal, daj da šta ćemo, kako ćemo, ovo i onda tek kad se završi EBL skapirali smo kao nemamo vod, ali kažem, mislim svako snimljeno i da je sačuvano za Sport klub, tako da li će možda Fortuna to uploadovati u nekom trenutku, nisam 100% siguran. Ali vidjet ćemo kakva je situacija. Tako da, s moje strane, meni se opet klikće neki Path of Exile ili Diablo. Igrao sam malo druida, onoga i bilo je jako zabavno. Ali nemam vremena da igram, tako da to je malo unlucky. Jer mora se igra i Valorant i LOL. Ali vidjet ću šta ću da radim. Šta ću raditi polako. Svi kažu da je nova ekspanzija Diablo baš banger. Zašto velik liči na Kenny S-a, to je veliko pitanje. Da, nonsense, tako je. Bio je neki bitko nešto, da, jeste. Bilo je blago unlucky. Bilo kako bilo. Što je bilo. To je to za LEC. Današnji dan je bio jako brzo. Ostavit ćemo naravno intervju nakon toga. Se pozdravljamo za sad. Ali malo kasnije se vraća i stream. Tako da ostavljamo intervju. Mi se vidimo kasnije na live-u. A do tada veliki pozdrav.
But it's a little unnecessary.
I mean, I have to say, my team was running down this game. It's not my fault, that's for sure. But I was sure that we're a better team, so we were we won't lose for sure. And I mean, we proved we're a better team. Even though we just ran it down at some point, I think we just play better team fights, and yeah, we just cleared them.
Tell me a little bit about how important this weekend is for MKOI.
I mean, it's really important. We want to do top 4, and of course, playing in front of our crowd. I think playing in front of this is just amazing. As I always say, it's as a player you don't get to experience many times playing in front of crowds, and I think this is amazing, honestly.
Algunas palabras en español. Hay mucha gente que ahora te critica. ¿Tienes una respuesta por ellos?
A ver, ¿qué decir? Me encanta jugar enfrente de vosotros cada vez que tenemos un road trip, un evento en España, 10 de 10. Gracias por apoyarnos, espero que os haya gustado la partida de hoy. Shane clínico, Rumble clínico y a casa. Y mañana más y mejor.
For our English viewers, really proud to play here tomorrow. The same thing's gonna happen. And sí, mañana Cana, domingo Broken Blade. ¿Qué va a pasar contra ellos?
I will show them.
Thank you so much. Muchas gracias, Mirwin.
He will show them some strong words coming on this side of Mirvin, but honestly, he deserves it. We were talking shit about him. Yep. We had reasons to doubt. I feel like that was the redemption series from him.
I 100% agree.
Yeah.
Like, especially the Rumble in game 1, fantastic. Flank angles, TPs, absolutely incredible. And even here as well, the roams that he had on the Shen set up beautifully for MKoi in the early stages.
I mean, it just goes to show when Koi get an early game lead, they know how to do it. You know what I mean? Like, on the rare occasion when they actually... Well, I mean, like, listen, okay, so when they're behind, they come back. But when they're ahead, they throw a little and then they come back. Yeah. Okay, I mean, yeah,
so they don't
it's...
have team games is what I'm getting here.
Ultimately, like, it was a very solid game from Koi. And I think that we did get to see what so many have been excited about with this roster for the last 2 years, which is simply that the mechanical ceiling of these players is exceptionally high. One of the things that we're always fishing for and hoping for is that degree of consistency. And this series just proved how inconsistent that they really are, but they do have the mechanical prowess to dig themselves out of troughs and fight their way to success. Their team fighting is something that you just can't afford to underestimate.
Yeah, I do like them bringing back, though, like the Callista and the Renata in that bottom side, though.
Yeah.
I do think it gives them a lot of control, both in, hey, we can play hyper-aggressive in the lane, but also then lends them a lot of strength in the skirmishes where they can still have kind of Alvaro play disengaged to it, but with being chucked in, and also then having the ultimate. So I think it just works very well for what MKoi want, and you can see in these fights how strong it is.
You know, sometimes it's not about having the cleanest games, it's about showing that you can be a cat, that you can land on your feet no matter how hard the situation gets. And for me, that's what they keep on showing. At least they have a stronger face leading into playoffs, leading into that top 4, because that's the big discussion we're gonna have this weekend. Where are MKoi gonna land? And after that series today, I'm more optimistic for them.
Absolutely. I mean, tomorrow's series is going to be a very exciting one.
Yes.
I believe they're going up against KC in the second series of the day. So it's going to be that France versus Spain rivalry that we're so fond of. Last time in LEC versus, Koi fell short up against KC, but it was still a very close series between the two teams. The question is, with KC looking a little shaky versus G2 and Koi riding the high of their series today, can they use that momentum to get a big win against KC and really shake up the standings in the top 4?
You don't want to lose against the French again, not in your house, not in your house. But yeah, I mean, maybe Madrid is going to be a different story than it was in Barcelona. I do want to check how the battle for top 4 is shaping up after the 2 series that we got, because after this loss from GX, I believe